my fears. Dreaming in some years I'll be running around the world like that. Ooh, I think that you don't. I think that you don't. I get a break sometimes. Ooh, I think that you don't. I think that you don't. It's easier to run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. We ran a little runaway. It's like I'm standing still, exerting all my will. It feels just harder to run sometimes. I had plans around the world, but keep running from the world. It all caught up to me again. Ooh, I think that you don't. I think that you don't. I get a break sometimes. Ooh, I think that you don't. I think that you don't. It's easier to run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. So we ran. It's easier to run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. So we ran a little runaway.
Alrighty, good morning everyone. Happy Monday. I don't even know what holiday it is today in markets. But happy holiday of whatever today is, to be honest. Hope you guys doing well. Another alert. Hyper liquid. That was the alert you guys heard earlier on. Very nice. I might be a little distracted with this to start off the stream, but as you guys know from the stream title and the tweets and all that, I'm supposed to have Nexus on the stream today. If you guys don't know Nexus, great low time frame trader. I think one of the best stories from this cycle thus far. I think he probably has the best account run-up story of the cycle that I'm aware of, and that's kind of verifiable. He's been doing it step by step, very transparent on the timeline. So yeah, respected trader in our industry this cycle. And I have the pleasure of speaking with him today, hopefully. We ironed out all the details over the weekend, so, you know, I know he retweeted it this morning, so he should be here. I hope everything's okay and he didn't, you know, last minute have anything occur or anything like that. But even if it doesn't work out, we'll have him on the stream sometime in the future for sure. Live trade on hype, maybe. We took a trade this morning on PEPE. Just happened to catch this top. Unfortunately for me, I did not hold all the way to the daily weekly VWAP. Started scaling out right at the 1 SD band. But yeah, good trade nonetheless to start off the day. Start off the week. But yeah, how are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Are we enjoying this chop your balls off 15 days of basically nothing on Bitcoin? I think it's kind of shocking. I think we've probably seen this tweet on the timeline 40 times, tweeted it myself, but this type of low volatility chop is something that we're used to seeing at bottoms, right? This is something that I'm very used to seeing after these like capitulation moments, just volatility completely dying off post FTX, post merge, any kind of these capitulation events. You're not really used to seeing it right here. This is August of 2023. You're not really used to seeing it all the way up here, which is very, very interesting. But as we know in markets right now, there's a complete disconnect and disassociation between altcoins and Bitcoin at the moment. You could definitively say some altcoins are in a bear market or just literally on their way to zero. I know some of the altcoins that are like specifically meme coins, on-chain stuff that people have been hyped on are down 80-90%. I know like something like Flog, which I was very bullish on last year in Q4, down 90%. So pretty tragic out there, and a lot of disassociation between Bitcoin and altcoins, where Bitcoin looks, to me, to be frank, fine, right? Especially on high time frame, doesn't look terrible. It looks like it's in the start of its either accumulation or distribution. Obviously, the way that this range breaks out down the line is going to tell us whether it's accumulation or distribution. But the meta has shifted in markets, as we know, whereas Bitcoin marks up, ranges for quite some time. We look for a spark, and we may be able to rally off the back of that spark. Markets are sort of missing that spark right now. We're coming off of a heated season where we had immense gains across the board, a lot of opportunity to make, you know, well, let's be frank, life-changing wealth on a lot of these coins. Things like virtuals, the AI, you know, agent meta, the hyper liquid airdrop, and even rally and 10x after launch. A lot of opportunity out there, and this is kind of that cool off hangover period where we recalibrate, money moves across the market. Some coins enter what I like to call Lindy status, where they kind of cement themselves as coins that'll just be around for a while, and other coins just fade off into irrelevancy. Something I talked about in the Paragon stream recently is like, we take, for example, coins like INJ, which had their moment in the sun, one of the strongest coins in 2023, right? What did it do during this last risk on rally while Bitcoin went to 100K? You know, fucking nothing. Look at something like Prime, which again was one of the coins that was really, really strong in 2023. What did it do? Kind of fucking nothing. FET, one of the really strong coins in 2023. What did it do? Kind of fucking nothing. The market replaces these coins with brand new narratives and shinier things that it wants to bid up. And in these moments in the markets, that money moves across. Some people get allocated to different things, and some coins just die off completely. So we're in that kind of quote unquote hangover period, while Bitcoin finds new value, Bitcoin finds new balance, and money just shuffles across the board in altcoins. If this ends up, trading sideways long enough, and we wipe out some of that froth, we get rid of a lot of tourists that are unwilling and unable to stick around, maybe due to just giving up or maybe just to losing all their funds. We get rid of them, and we start slowly building fresh bullish market structure on Bitcoin, and a few of the altcoins as the high time frame trends, like let's take a look at something like PEPE real quick, comes down, it goes sideways long enough, we're able to build ourselves into possibly a new risk on regime a couple months down the line. So that's pretty much where we're at with Bitcoin. I'll do a little roundup on ETH, Sol, everything like that in a little bit. Catch up with chat, see if there's any new chatters in here. Good morning, Jags, Slime, what's up, guys? Seeing a lot of familiar faces. Watch CoffeeZilla in the meantime. I'll pass. I don't really care about, I hope maybe you're watching CoffeeZilla. I don't really care. I don't really care, like, I'll go on a tangent here about like these scams and things that happen in crypto. Like, I kind of just try my best to check out in these moments where I know that I have no edge buying things like the Argentina coin day one or whatever else, the Dave Portnoy coins. That's not my edge. That's not where I'm going to make my living. That's not where I'm going to make my bag. So I just tend to ignore those things when that turns out to be the meta. I don't know how many of you guys were trading in 2023, but it was kind of the same thing, right? When we entered here, we had a different kind of scam season. And, some of you guys remember the market making firm, DWF. I mean, they're still around, but they basically took over the market. They kind of scammed a bunch of just turbo, centralized exchange shitcoins way the fuck up. I don't know if you guys remember TRB, right? And that was the meta for a little bit, right? And I didn't really participate in this complete scam meta either. So now last summer it was the meme coin scam meta. Now it's whatever presidential coins and celebrity coins, miss me with that. So I don't really care what CoffeeZilla has to say. I'm sure he's just, talking about crypto scams as he always does, because that gets him a lot of viewership. Start without him and give me some good news for Link and Fartcoin, please. All right, 100% Sam, I got you. Didn't know you streamed every week, man. Every week. Well, I shouldn't say every week. I miss a couple weeks here and there. 90K coming. Yeah, I think the higher EV place to bet for something like Bitcoin, clearly defined range lows confluent with the weekly trend. So 90K, 91K, 92K, very clean levels to work with as far as Bitcoin goes. You don't really want to try to trade directionally in this chop, right? You're not trying to make these heroic plays of, oh, we're taking this to 105K and I'm shorting this and I'm taking this down to here. That's really not the environment that this is catered towards. But when you do get those extensions away from this, right, and maybe we get a big sharp move down into here, this would be a place, on a reclaim or something like that, would be a really good place to bet long. Likewise, range highs, right, for betting short or taking profits or removing risk, whatever floats your boat. Those are the areas you want to attack as traders in this environment, not really focus too much on this unless you're like me and are going to be trading the low time frame intraday mean reversion, which I'm probably not going to talk too much about on stream. Have you talked about hype already? No, not yet. Like, comment, subscribe, and your P&L will 10x. Facts. Like, comment, subscribe. I never ask for this, but if you guys hang out in my streams and catch me once in a while, and you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so, man. Costs you nothing, and if you turns out you hate me, you can always unsubscribe. I think I'm really close to 5K subs on YouTube, which would be kind of sick. Not gonna lie to you guys, I'd be way more proud of that than followers on Twitter. Followers on Twitter were cool for a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't know, that's kind of like maybe validation for continued competence shown on the timeline. I used to trade publicly. I used to trade on the timeline in 2023. So it's cool, but it kind of means nothing to me now. But followers on or subscribers on YouTube are pretty damn cool, man. I don't know why it's like that, but it's pretty cool for me. Okay, let's do Sam a favor. Let me check my DMs quickly and see if Nexus has not responded. So we're gonna go on this stream and kind of just assume maybe, I don't know, hopefully everything's okay with him, but maybe something came up last minute and he couldn't make it. But I haven't heard from him this morning. I think we're all good. We had the timing set, so we're just gonna go on this with the stream like normal. Sorry for anyone that's disappointed that Nexus couldn't come on, but you know, hopefully he's still here. I told him I'm streaming for 2 hours, so he can always join in. I'll get him in really easily. Can I ask how you executed the Pepe short today? I don't really love giving off the sauce on the low time frame trading on the public streams, but everything is here, right? Nothing is hidden. Right, for those of you guys that can read flows a little bit, you can see this, right? Drop back into value, market structure break, take out the low that led to the high, really clean market structure on the way up, trading outside of value, dropped back into value, put in a lower high, very clean area to short, very clean invalidation on, you know, if we re-accept outside of value, take out this, or start accepting above this low time frame key level, mean revert back to 1 standard deviation band and extension to daily weekly VWAP, which I didn't do. I actually just took the short and I went back on with my morning. I didn't really sit at the desk after that. Some guys, here's what the what do you want to call it, the key thing to note here, just some bozos coming in to just absolutely top blast with size, right? They get trapped, they go underwater, eventually they end up puking their positions. It's that simple, right? You just take advantage of the morons because there's really not that many people trading size in the markets anymore. So when people try to put on size and they do it in dumb locations, they get trapped and they eventually have to unwind. And when they unwind, that's pretty much the end of your trade. So that's the gist of it. Probably like, do I have this facing in here? That's not it. That's the stream. One sec. Let's see if I have a screenshot anywhere. Oh, well, I'll come back to it. Does the stream stay up on YouTube? Yes, sir. While you're here, Twister, you can just check out the channel. You'll see all the streams in there. Plenty of stuff. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about ETH. So I tweeted out ETH this morning that this is a very strong high time frame level, right? And you know, the sad part is every time ETH leads the market, even if it's for a few hours, it's usually pretty bearish, right? That's what statistically the markets have shown us. So ETH trading up, I don't know we were up 5-6% this morning, trading into key resistance. You guys can just see very simple, you know, 2 IQ SR level support resistance last summer. Tried to hold a support, big breakdown below it. We're kind of now coming up and bearishly rejecting it from the underside. And the confluence is the daily trend, which has been bullying us pretty much for, you know, a month now, right? So the daily trend has already established resistance. We're trading up into it. Today is a holiday. Markets are not open. It's going to be a little less liquid. If people are chasing ETH longs, which they were, like, look at these maniacs just longing ETH into resistance. Obviously it's going to be a pretty clean fade. Some people took the ETH short this morning. Some of my friends, I took the Pepe short. Both seem to work out pretty well. Later, Twister. But yeah, coming back to ETH, base case baseline expectations for ETH is just range for longer. I wish I had more hopium. This market over the past 2 years, which whenever I say 2 years, I'm referring to this cycle. I'm referring to like since the FTX bottom, right? Has had specific characteristics to it that define the meta this cycle. And the meta this cycle is big, prolonged accumulation periods, right? So if you just look at, like, this is post FTX, What did ETH do? Range for 2 months. What did it do after our August 2023 capitulation? Range for 2 months. What did it do after our August 2024 capitulation? Range for 2 to 3 months, right? Why would this be anything different? Why would this end up being a V-shaped reversal? If we're just betting on statistical odds here and probabilities, why not continue to bet on the meta that the market has shown us? And if the market has shown us that after capitulation events, the market ends up going into these range-bound regimes, I think that's the higher EV bet to take, right? And when you have two overlapping confluent sections of resistance, this is probably going to end up being your local range high. I can't really predict what the local range low is going to be, whether we take out this wick or not, but eventually ETH will find balance. Once it finds balance, these high time frame EMAs, the daily trend will come down, the weekly trend will come down, just like it did right here. Eventually, we bonk at resistance. We eventually trade the daily trend flat, where it's providing no value to us whatsoever from a trend perspective. Bonk our head on the weeklies, and when we can get above it, that can lead us to our expansionary environment. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process, and I think a lot of people that are still around right now, they have this maybe slightly diluted idea that it could be next day, it could be next week. I don't want to miss. I'm going to FOMO, or I have FOMO. I'm going to miss out on the next rally. I want to be active. And this is what we call time-based capitulation, right? First, you have price-based capitulation, where prices go down really hard. And the next period in markets is time-based capitulation, where the market just doesn't give you, or doesn't give the bulls what they want to see. And that turns out to be, just capitulating them out of the markets based on time, right? And I think that's what we're entering right now. And what I want to say to this, I've been echoing this in Paragon, pretty much anyone who listened to me. If you are, and I said this on Twitter, I put a thread out there, if you are someone who has done really well over the past 2 years, I think you owe it to yourself to take some time off, enjoy some of your gains, take a vacation, take a mental reset. If you are someone who has not done the best or has underperformed your expectations, this is your moment to improve. Because what most of these motherfuckers do in the time-based capitulation period, they fuck off. They stop getting involved with markets. They don't show up to the market every day. They don't train at the gym every day. They check out mentally. And other people that are hungrier, more passionate, more driven, pass them up and get better skill sets. So the next time the market goes risk on, they have the reps in hard mode. They're training with the weighted vest. They're more dedicated, and when they take that wet vest off, which basically means going from a range-bound market to a trending market, they're able to extract more value because it's like easy mode to them. They've been training under the hard conditions. But if you don't train under the hard conditions, everything is the hard condition, right? Nothing becomes easy mode for you because you don't actually know what you're doing. So to the select few of you that are showing up to my stream today, that are still showing up to the markets, that are still interested in markets, I think you're going to have a leg up on other people. And the next time the markets go risk on, new participants will come that don't know anything about markets, and you'll be able to extract value from them. That's at the end of the day what PvP markets are, right? We're all in a knife fight with one another, right? And I think the people that develop the skill sets in the hard times are going to be the ones that succeed in the quote-unquote easy times. So a little bit of tangent. Yeah. The analogy tells us you're a calisthenics guy. I was a calisthenics guy in 2020. Short story about me in 2018, 2019, I got hyper obsessed with fitness. I did powerlifting and CrossFit, but CrossFit minus like the clean and jerks and then their weird pull-up stuff. But when I mean CrossFit, I just mean like high intensity interval training, a lot of like, full body exercise and stuff like that. I got pretty fucking jacked. But then I got obsessed with powerlifting. I hurt myself by herniating my disc, and I couldn't power lift. So then I got into calisthenics. And I did pretty much calisthenics for like 8 months until I became just too hyper obsessed with markets, and I was sick of fucking doing it. There's only so many pull-ups and push-ups and fucking dips and shit that you can do before that shit gets boring and you want to push some weight. So I kind of just put all that on the back burner for a few years to dedicate myself fully to markets, and that's where we are now. We're getting back into the gym now though. Been working out a lot. Okay, back to charts. So the next one that's really important is Solana. Over the weekend, I've seen a lot of Solana FUD on the timeline. I've seen a lot of bearish takes on Solana that's heading to 2 digits. That unlocks are really bearish. I'm going to give it to you guys straight. I'm going to give it to you guys all the facts with kind of no bias, right? What are the charts telling us? What are the markets telling us? What's the most bullish thing about Solana? What's the most bearish thing about Solana? So the most bullish thing about Solana right now is it's at support, right? Firstly, let's go to the weekly chart. We're trading into daily demand. We're trading right into prior highs. This was resistance, resistance. This turned out to be support. We're trading right into that region right now. Being bearish at support may work out. It's just like being bullish at resistance. Sometimes resistance breaks when you're bullish at resistance and you get a big breakout trade. Sometimes that doesn't happen, right? And you just get canned there. So probability's sake, should you be max short, max bearish at support? Probably not, right? But are there any hidden weaknesses? I'd say number one, Solana probably had the most disappointing performance, probably outside of ETH in Q4, being as that it ranged for 8 or 9 months, and when it broke out, all it did was fart push to put in a new all-time high and really not put in any price discovery trade. There was no price discovery trade, right? This was the move when the markets were bullish. It didn't do much. It was unable to hold the daily trend. It fully retraced back into the old value. Not great, right? Anytime you break out of a range, anytime you put in a big consolidation, if you break out, you don't want this perfect retest, right? You want a shallower retest. You want something that bulls come in and defend the line and push higher. We didn't get anything of the sort here on Solana, right? So high time frame, not the most bullish case. The next thing was this big move based on, the Trump meme coin launch was on Solana. He didn't do it on ETH. He's been bull posting ETH. He's been buying ETH, whatever his fund is buying ETH. But when they launched the shitcoin, they launched it on Solana. Very big bullish moment for Solana. What did it do? Get capped once again, right at all-time highs. This was it. If you didn't sell this first top, you should have sold this one. This is where I full exited my Solana bag. From here, what do we need to be bullish on Solana once again? This time sideways. Me, you, and our friends are not whales. Well, maybe some of you guys' friends are. But when I say whales, I'm talking about billionaires. I'm talking about people with big money that can actually move markets. We're not that. So we have to let the other big boys see what they want to do, right? We have to let them say, hey, we're going to hold the line here. And once they do that, we can join in on the fresh trend. We can read between the tea leaves and say, okay, the market's not breaking down. I can join in. Before that happens, all you should be doing in markets is trading, in my opinion. You shouldn't be taking these massive directional bets on, I'm getting the generational bottom here on Solana at 178, and I'm going to hold this for 8 months and 12 months, and I'm going to sell it at $600. I think that's something you can get away with earlier and earlier and earlier in the cycle, and the later and later and later we get, the harder it is to want to tell people to take those kind of bets. I think those are more difficult bets to take at this point, and you want the market to show its hand. I know that's a very cringe saying, but basically you want the market to tell you what it wants to do, and then you join in on that. So those are both your bull and bear case on Solana. The bear case basically being it's actually just not that bullish. The bull case being you're trading into a very significant level. Do you want to be max short into this level? Probably not. So those are two cases there. So what would be the most responsible thing to do for Solana here? To be a trader, right? To try to be bullish at range lows, to be bearish at range highs, to take the obvious trades when they present themselves, and not try to do these crazy, I'm shorting this to 0 or I'm longing this to 600 type of plays while we're in this regime. Okay, moving on. Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, let's talk about Total 3 and others. So Total 3, I didn't stream last week. I don't even remember when this doodle is from, but this is my base case, right? So if I'm saying that altcoins need to do this, if I'm saying Bitcoin needs to go sideways for a while, I'm saying Solana needs to go sideways for a while, obviously altcoins need to do the exact same thing, right? Altcoins had a big capitulation moment early in April. Some of them, PEPE, what else? Ondo, and there was a couple others that made new all-time highs on this push. But generally, the entire altcoin market made a lower high. Like PEPE made a new all-time high, Ondo made a new all-time high. The rest of the market put in a complacency shoulder and actually led lower. We kind of did the same thing. We had a big capitulation moment in December 16th. I bought this capitulation on a lot of stuff. I didn't perfectly TP this as a complacency shoulder balance. I was actually looking for much higher targets. I was not given that this time. Round tripped a lot of gains on this pullback, and now I think you're in this mode. So the most ideally and optimistic view here is that we end up putting in an accumulation range confluent with the kind of weekly trend once again. Right in this area. So maybe revisit the lows once more, reject the highs, put in and try to develop new value and wait for a spark to go risk on again. If this is the base case, I think a lot of people have time to build bags. I don't think you need a full port into coins today. I think you can slowly take your time, allow the market to present itself with the strongest coins. So let's take an example of last summer. Sui was one of the stronger coins. Now it was not the easiest to recognize because it looked dog shit for a long time, and just bleeding out. But eventually it did start basing out, right? How do we know that? It took out the high that led to the low. There's your market structure break, right? After lower highs and lower lows this entire way down, it takes out the high that leads to the low. It starts putting in now higher lows relative to the last low, right? And then starts reversing, reclaiming high time frame trends, taking back the weekly trend, taking back the daily trend. This is how we know that these coins are geared. And this probably looked, which we know, right? If you guys were around trading in 2024, looked much better than a lot of other coins on the market, right? This is how you know. If you start positioning here, how do you know Sui is going to be the leader of the pack? If you just kind of wait, you kind of know Sui, okay, maybe Sui is going to be the leader of the pack, right? And I'm not saying this from a perspective that I nailed this. I did not buy spot Sui. I didn't nail this trade, but it was definitely more apparent to a lot of us, right? I kind of got caught in the trap of getting a pullback, then I didn't get a sharp enough pullback for me to position it from a spot perspective. But you had time, right? That's the case here, is you had time. Like, you didn't have to buy these early ones. You can kind of just wait for the market to show itself. Same thing with PEPE. Now, I saw someone in chat ask about PEPE. So if you just eyeball this, where do you think we are? If we have to use kind of the last breakdown as an example, we can even use this breakdown as an example. Like, where do you think we are in this breakdown? Right? Probably pretty early on. In fact, we are really early on. So you have time, once again, to rebuild spot PEPE bags. I think there's a lot of work to do on PEPE to get bullish again. You need to make fresh bullish market structure. Once again, you need to start putting in higher lows. Once again, you need to go sideways long enough so the market shows you we're willing to bid these values, right? And then you need a new thesis, being something bullish for meme coins or PEPE or maybe even ETH, right? If ETH is really bullish, PEPE will be really bullish. Do you pay attention to Monday's ranges? If yes, do you watch at previous week Monday low and Monday high? Ooh, a lot of hyperliquid alerts going on. This is going to be fun for me. A little bit later in the day or maybe even tomorrow. What was the question? Do you pay attention to Monday's range? If yes, do you watch at previous week's Monday low and Monday high? It wouldn't be previous weeks. If you're trading Monday's range, you need to be trading the current week, right? You're trading the current Monday's week. I don't think there's value in trading last week's Monday's low and Monday's high. I have traded that strategy a lot in the past. I don't trade Monday's range anymore. I think it's also most valuable in these type of environments where you're not getting much volatility to either side of the book. So you're basically just saying, hey, if Monday is a very volatile day, right? If, fresh money or fresh flows are coming in and you get a lot of volatility on Monday, yeah, just marking out the low on Monday and high on Monday. And if Tuesday is kind of an inside day, meaning you don't really run either side, and then Wednesday you take out Monday's low, you can aim for Monday's high. Vice versa, right? If you take out Monday's high, you can kind of aim for Monday's low, right? That's kind of setting the pace for the week. But you can't just, in a nutshell, take this trade for itself and just be like, oh yeah, we just took out Monday's high, I'm full bag short from here, right? There's a little bit of nuance to it. You can expand outside of Monday's range for sure. Oh wait, got a DM from from Nexus. Maybe he's back. All right, I think we're gonna get Nexus on. Give me a minute to set that up, guys. Guys, say buys. All right, let's see. Let's see if I have the skills to do this live. I'm gonna mute myself on stream for a little bit. I'll be back in a couple minutes, guys.
Yeah, where they go is use UTC to make it more convenient and make more sense to coordinate, and then we're like, oh, UTC is, wait, what is it? And then
All right, stream. Can you guys hear us? Nexus, give me a 1-2.
1, 2.
All right, cool. Let me know if you guys can hear Nexus and how the audio is and how the volume is. I'm just gonna mute all the background music. But anyways, all right, Nexus, it's a pleasure having you on stream today, man. I think I told Chad a little bit about you guys. Not that you need an introduction, but I think you have one of the coolest stories, probably the most inspirational story that's come out of this cycle. Someone that stuck around during the bad times, as we're probably currently in, and just grinded and focused on the skill set. Never gave up and you know, saw a future for yourself in trading and markets, and basically did everything the right way the second time around, right? Probably wasn't a moon boy this time around, probably focused on the skill set, the competence, and the repeated trade skill set. And then I think we all know how you've done over the past year or two. But yeah, pleasure, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, let me see. How's the audio for you guys? Can you guys hear Nexus okay?
Where should I, can you drop a link in the, or actually, no, I'll grab it off Twitter real quick.
Yeah, here, I got you.
I can see the chat as well. I'll
Yeah.
put it on my phone.
There you go. You know, it's something that's funny that's like not even trading related that I've always wanted to ask you. Do you ever get comments on your profile picture of how like disorienting it is?
I don't know.
So every time I look at your profile picture, I see a guy with a yellow football helmet. every time.
Actually, I have gotten that. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I see it like facing left, like the left is the face mask, and it's like a football helmet. And I think one time I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, he actually has eyes on that thing, and that's a badge or like an ID card. I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I have gotten that a couple times before, actually. Yeah. Um, yeah. My profile picture actually just comes from a random. Originally, it was an NFT that I bought that ended up rugging, and then I didn't want to change it because it was like already kind of like I had gotten a couple more followers, and I was starting to like have like a brand or whatever, and didn't want to be constantly changing my profile picture, and I didn't know what I would want to switch it to that I would intend on keeping for a while, and so then it kind of stuck around. But then my friend made like this this project and made me like a custom one based on the original rug, and that's what this is.
Oh, sick. Yeah. I get how that
Yeah,
is. Like I put a Christmas hat on. I had like no followers and I was just like wanted to do the CT thing of putting a Christmas hat on my PFP, and it's just kind of stuck with me now because I just forgot to take it off. And I'm like, all right, it's just part
yeah,
of who I am now.
yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Anyways, man. You wanna tell people a little bit about yourself? I'm pretty sure everyone knows you, but if you could do a little introduction for us, that'd be fire. Kind of like what
Yeah.
your focus is on the markets and stuff like that. What brought you into crypto?
Yeah. So I originally got into crypto like back. Well, I say my audio is a bit high. I'm using headphones, so I can't like
I'll turn you
move my
down.
mic away, but
I'll turn you down. I'll turn
could
you
turn
down.
the level. Yeah.
I got you. Go for it.
Yeah. So I originally got in like. I think when everybody did, in or not everybody, but all the idiots, in 2020, and thought I was somebody, started trading a little bit in the stocks and uh, doing decently because the conditions were very favorable. And then yeah, I eventually just like started losing and uh, yeah, I did pretty badly in stocks mostly. And then wanted to like I was always trying to find volatility and stuff, so I was trading all the like pharma and like biotech stuff, and yeah, and then I would see on like Robinhood or whatever that crypto was always moving way more than any of those things even, and like why am I not trading that? And started doing that a little bit, and then yeah, I did okay like throughout 2020 or yeah, 2021 is when I got in, I think, and did okay for a little while up till um 2021 or 2022 of like I think it was May. Uh, I think that was when Luna was, and I blew up trying to trade that, uh, and I was just dead broke for a while. And yeah,
Yeah, I think that, I don't think there's anything that, newer participants will go, oh, this is worse than COVID. This is worse than May 2021. This is worse than Luna. I don't think they understand how crazy that 6 month span was from, Luna to the 3AC into FTX. That 6 month span was just, it felt completely hopeless to the point where people are saying stuff like crypto as a industry and project has failed, the experiment has failed, and it was a different time. Like surviving that wasn't easy. If you were someone like myself too, who came into 2020 2021 and rode some of that upswing and went, oh, okay, I actually know what the fuck I'm doing, like I can make money, and you get humbled very quickly on any of these capitulation cascades, and you go, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Right. I think we were
yeah, it
all
can so
there.
quickly get out of hand.
Yeah. For me, that was I don't know if you remember this one, but the December 4th 2021, where Bitcoin I think dumped from like 58 to like 43 or something like that. It like was trickling
Yeah,
down
yeah,
and then had a big capitulation wick. That one was the one for me that made me go, oh, I don't know shit. I
yeah,
actually, I'm actually like the left side of the Dunning-Kruger thinking that this up only market means that I'm good at stuff. Like I'm the
Hmm.
guy in the meme that the parents are like, "Oh, my little investor, how you doing?" But yeah, man,
Yep.
can you talk a little bit about like what the rebound was like for you? Like how'd you get over that? Because I think a lot of people in the market today are probably experiencing that for themselves of like, oh shit, I came in, I made some money, and it's all gone.
I think it was I really needed that period to be really broke for a while. Uh, to just kind of humble myself, but also like really come to terms with where I messed up and kind of, well, it didn't actually make a vow or anything, but just in my head, I'm just like, I'm never doing that again. Uh, I'm clean from all the like things that would bring me to where I am now, or at that time where I was then. And then it wasn't until FTX that for a lot of people was not a very good time, but I was had dabbled with the news trading, and then when I saw like there was rumblings of FTX being insolvent, and so I was like, okay, there might be a trade here. Uh, there might be a couple trades here, and so then I loaded up like I think like $3,000 into the Bybit, and then right when I saw, I don't remember who it was now, but there was somebody that like monitored on-chain stuff, and they noticed that FTX had paused withdrawals, and I knew that they were like somebody that didn't post fake. They're typically very competent and about like the um, just how true the things they would post would be.
Right.
So I knew like nobody sees this and doesn't and buys FTT. Like there's not a person in the world that sees that, and I saw it started getting picked up by other people, so I just immediately just max shorted FTT and Solana, and uh, yeah, then I that started off like I think it was literally like 72 hours straight of just news trading every single headline that came in from like yeah I think there was one from SBF. There's the whole like uh, he's like working on something, da da da, and so I like closed shorts, long FTT, uh, and because obviously like when he's like, oh yeah, like it's gonna be okay, people just like, okay, yeah, sure, long, it's already gone down a ton, and then yeah, then CZ, I think it wasn't maybe it wasn't CZZ, I think it was SPF that tweeted that Binance was gonna like take over FTX, and so then short FTT, long BNB, um, and yeah, it turns after that 72 hours, it turned 3,000 to like 35, and yeah, then I just withdrew everything, and yeah, I was like, okay, well, this is where I start off from again, and I'm never gonna let myself get to that point uh where I've lost it all again.
Yeah, understandable. I think that was a crazy time. I think also the courage to trade stuff like that is wild. Usually when I get, this is what makes markets super fun is people find different edges and ways to extract value from things. And news trading for me has always been something that I've stayed away from. I know that there's massive edge there if you could just be quick and be on the right side of the trade before other people, because people will want to trade that news 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour later, 5 hours later. So just being active at the desk and being ready to execute off of news is massive for people. And I know people have bots and stuff like that for now or nowadays, but that's something that I've always stayed away from. I got burnt on a couple trades during that period, like on Doge through like Elon tweets and stuff, and then BNB with CZ tweets. So I was like, I'm not gonna do this. But I think it's very cool that you found like an initial edge with news trading. Did you say that you stuck with that for like 7 or 8 months?
Something like that. Yeah, I still do it occasionally. It just has gotten more and more competitive over time. And especially like the Elon thing that you mentioned is a pretty good one. Because that's one where the competitiveness has just gone up so much that it's not even worth really trying because everybody has that botted to no end.
Yeah.
If Elon tweets anything relating to Doge, especially, you have a bit more time when there's some like uh, you kind of have to kind of parse what it actually means. Um,
Right.
than you do if Elon tweets like Doge to the moon or something like that. It's very obvious. It has Doge in like the actual ticker in the tweet, and any bot can just easily do that.
What?
And that's where you're like you're not going to compete so much. But yeah, the best ones now are still like the ones where you can yeah, kind of need to be a human or a bot that takes a little bit of extra time, like the ChatGPT thinks for a little bit longer. And yeah, you can still compete with that, but yeah,
Yeah, the
I've
Elon
just kind of gradually phased it out of my trading over time.
the Elon Doge shorts were really fun in 2022. Just like waiting for the BART back when Alameda was still in
Yeah,
charge of the
yeah.
market. This is before FTX, but like that whole summer when he would tweet something about Doge, you could get the kind of free BART trades. Yeah, good times. So
Apparently they were on the opposite side. They would be longing.
yeah, it that whole saga made no sense to me because the whole time us as like participants, we're just thinking, oh, they must be crushing, right? They're holding all the supply, they're
Yeah,
dumping on us, they're causing the barts, and we're just like, how do you fuck
they're
up
writing
everything?
threads every time something happens.
Yeah, we're just like sitting here shocked, like, wait a minute, they LARPed the entire time. Just goes to show like it's so hard to tell who in this industry is actually good at what they do and who's just full of shit, right?
Yeah, it does help to have billions of dollars of customer funds.
Yeah, 100%. Did you get burned at all with the FTX collapse? Did you have funds on there?
No, no, I never. I think I think my girlfriend actually had like some money on there just because like the interest rate is pretty good, and I told her to withdraw, but she'd gotten a new phone, and so there was like she had logged on the new phone, and so there was like a withdrawal time or withdrawal freeze time, and the withdrawals actually got frozen, and yeah,
Yeah,
by then it was too late.
yeah. I mean, I knew people personally that they were in DFK. Do you ever fuck around with Jewel last cycle?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that like if I had missed the beginning of something, I'm very hesitant to get in.
Yeah.
And it can be a good thing sometimes, but a lot of the times I think it's one of my flaws, really.
I got you. Yeah. I think it's hard. I was just talking about on stream before you joined in is like how we have time in the market right now with a lot of altcoins to see which ones the winners of this. Let's say hypothetically we have another risk on cycle later this year. Which ones the winners are going to be from this like accumulation, right? And last summer it was Sui, right? And I think a lot of people kind of wrote that off, and then it reversed pretty hard. And I never got into that trade from the bottom, and I was kind of like trading it on the way up, but I never was able to pick up a massive spot bag or anything to just ride comfortably. So it is difficult sometimes, like if you're not in from the accumulation ranges to kind of chase those big trends. 100% agree.
Yeah, because there's that element of like, at least for me, it's hard to just kind of give in fully to it. And sometimes things just don't really provide a good entry that feels comfortable. And a lot of the times that's the best coins to be in when there's never been a single time where a ton of people can just comfortably enter. That's usually when it's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, like there's a pretty good for anyone that doesn't already know this. There's a pretty good top indicator in markets when expectations start increasing rapidly, right? Where you look at something on the market, like let's take for example PEPE, because that's something that I've traded a whole fuck ton this cycle. Of people just kind of writing it off, and then after the pumps come in, the targets increase exponentially, and you go, oh, okay. And the reason that usually happens is people get in kind of late, and they can't fathom a reality where they're buying in a, probably negative EV space for the first time. So they have to like dilutedly say that the targets are going to be 5x from here so that they mentally still have a good risk to reward on their position. But it's usually pretty common that these expectations for price start getting crazy the higher you go instead of getting more rational, right? And it's pretty common for that to happen at tops.
Yeah, meanwhile, ETH tops were always very underwhelming, and still has managed to not do well.
Yeah,
Or ETH targets.
ETH is kind of shocking to me that how much the markets abandon that as a trade, as a coin, as an ecosystem, and whatever. It's pretty funny, but
Yeah,
I think it kind of shows you just how much lower, I guess you could say, the participation is this cycle versus 2021, where we just don't have the money to support everything just because it's a large market cap, right? Just because it's there, it doesn't mean that it's going to get immense flows from everyone.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been, I think I've been pretty wrong on ETH, to be honest. Like, I'm not somebody that like really stuck my neck out too much, thankfully. But a few times, like I'd rotate to ETH. I'd be like, all right, this is the time. Like, it's gonna happen now.
Yep.
And
Same.
as everyone can see, it does not.
Yeah, same with me. Same with me. I early on in the cycle, it did well with ETH, but I'd say last summer, when the ETF went live and it had a correction, I'm talking about before that August 5th wick, right? I was thinking, okay, we've got flows now. We could probably have a little bit of an ETH-led narrative while things are cooling off, right? Didn't happen. Once
Yeah,
again,
you'd think.
yeah. Once again, like a month ago, I thought that was a good opportunity because typically, historically, Q1 is pretty good for ETH. There's fucking nothing happened.
Yep. Yeah. It it is crazy to me because like I got in 2021, and so like in my head, ETH just it does pump. Like it was like a law of the universe, and is obviously, yeah, things change so fast in this space, and yeah, maybe it will pump. I don't know, but yeah, just goes to show like you should always kind of doubt your prior, like just what you believe to be true.
Yeah, the anchoring bias in crypto is really tough to get over. I think really what you experience, what you when you come into markets tends to define how you trade the markets, right? Like for me, I think what I'm lucky, I think I say this all the time, is like I'm pretty lucky that my foundation for trading was built in 2022 because the meta that was established in 2022 is kind of like, okay, nothing's going to pump unless there's a narrative, right? Which was the ETH merge, right? ETH merge was a massive narrative. And what pumped alongside ETH was all the ETH beta stuff, ENS and stuff like that. Then we had the World Cup, and that was a stupid narrative, but we have nothing going on, right? We're bottom barrel prices.
Yeah.
So we have Chili's and the football coin and all these other things going
Oh
on.
yeah,
Yeah. And,
I
and
remember that.
yeah, good times, right? Simpler times.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it was so much easier to keep up with everything, and
yeah,
yeah, things have
100%.
gotten crazy quickly.
But if you look at it, the last 2 years have just been branched off of that meta, right? We look for a narrative, we latch onto it, and we pump that narrative, and everything else kind of suffers. I think that's where like the dispersion kind of started, where just because ETH is pumping doesn't mean everything in the market's going to pump. Or just because the ETH merge is happening doesn't mean everything's going to pump. And ETH, outperformed everything during that rally. I think it almost did a 2x, if not did a 2x, in a bear market, right? So I think
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that that was my foundation, and that's kind of been my mindset for the past 2 years. And for people that come in and they just see meme coins, hopefully that doesn't become their entire personality, where they're able to kind of adapt past that and not just be like, I only can trade the trenches in meme coins now. Be a little bit more adaptable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most probably will fall into that. But as usual, there will be a few that are able to like shake those kind of mental shackles and come out of it as a decent trader. But yeah, it's really just I think with anything, anytime you get into the market, there's always going to be people that are able to uh, kind of adapt and outperform, and those are the ones that stick around. I
Yeah.
have noticed like lately, have you noticed it getting quieter on the timeline? Like just not so much like there's certain things that get louder, like the LA vape cabal and all that,
Yeah.
and all the new entrants, the tourist stuff, they're getting a lot louder. Dave Portnoy and all that. But I've noticed more and more people. Uh, I haven't kept a list of like who I should be looking for and stuff, but you just over time you're like, oh wait, no, you hear a name and I haven't seen him in a long time. And yeah, just more and more people seem to be dropping off.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling it too. So I don't know about you, but my first time since going full time as a trader to feel burnout happened last year, right? I'd say like September, October of Q4. I was like balls deep in the market, positioned for the upside, but my mental was just fucking exhausted. It's like, doing crypto
Yeah,
every single day. And I think with the latest, all these nukes that we've had across the market, I think a lot of people are just like, okay, this is my time to just check out and just, refresh my, baseline mentality and whatever. I think, everyone knows Rhino. Rhino said like, fuck this, I'm out for like 3 to 6 months, right? And he's one of the most respected traders on the
yeah.
timeline. So I think a lot of people are going that route, and I think they deserve it too, right? I think you deserve time off if you've been grinding for a couple years to just refresh your mentality and come back with a new drive.
I think you might be being a bit charitable to the majority. Like Rhino, obviously, yeah, he's amazing. But I think you might be overly optimistic. I think a lot of people are just broke,
Yeah,
honestly.
I think so too. I think so too. But one of the things I said before you came on stream is for the people that are here, watching my stream or still on Twitter, still trying to trade, like this is where you get the XP, right? Like your journey started from FTX, like your real journey, like the make it journey started in FTX. Was that an opportunistic market? I would say probably not. That was kind of like we were dead, you know?
Yeah,
But you didn't fuck off and go like, hey, I'm broke. I'm out of here. I don't give a I'm gonna just go do something else. You're like, okay, how do I learn for the next time these markets get super opportunistic? And then you land on these things, right? And you build skill sets. So I think this is the time, even if you fucked up over the past, couple months, if you guys are listening on the stream, this is the moments I think separates the people who are going to win down the line from the people that are just going to come back at the next hype period and get rinsed again by the market.
yeah. I would say like it's kind of a there's a happy medium with it of you don't want to be like overly active in a dead period because then you're just kind of constantly just jumping at things that aren't there, and kind of looking for opportunities. And you're like, oh, there's got to be something. Like you look at a chart that has no trade, and you look at it enough times, and you start to see a trade, and you chop yourself up of it, and then you do it again the next day and the next day, and you can really whittle down your portfolio a lot. And I've done that before. 'Cause I'm a very active trader, and I'm just constantly looking for something to do. When you're bored, you quickly find things to do when you probably shouldn't. But also, like, I do think it has made me a better trader overall. I think you just kind of have to uh, just kind of up your filter for what's a good play, because it takes a lot more during bad times to for there to actually be something like you mentioned with uh I forget what it was, but yeah, just there has to be something more substantial than in like a bull market where uh some Twitter KOL can say something and then it starts like a little narrative,
Yeah.
mini narrative, and then we're all trading that. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, how did you not know, like, to because they tweeted this that it was going to start a narrative? Well,
Yeah. I remember,
yeah,
do you know, you probably know Pentoshi. He started like an LDO thing, like after it already pumped. And I was like, yeah, I'm out. I've taken enough out of this trade. Like
yeah,
with experience, that people come in looking for exit liquidity in these low volatility times, and they bull post the tops on purpose. Whether that's his, prerogative or not, I have no idea. I don't know the guy, but just from an outside looking in. So yeah, just try to stay away from the Twitter KOL bull posty stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah. And not even just that. I just mean in general, just looking for some more like substantial things. And yeah, try not to jump at nothing.
Yeah, no, good advice. But yeah, I think in general though, like these are times I think that build XP, or at least build a skill set.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to remove the reps and just be like, oh, the market's not doing much, I'm just not going to do anything either, right? How you gonna get the reps in that you need for the market if you just end up just going, yeah, fuck this. So there's a healthy balance for sure. I think you said what you said is very valid too. Don't just jump at anything that's out there just because you have to trade something. But at the same time, don't fuck off completely if you feel like you don't deserve it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. I want to switch the conversation a little bit. I think I did a thread on this last week. I don't know if you want to call it a thread, kind of like a ramble on indicators, because people always ask me if I post a chart, hey, why is your candle colored blue? Why is it colored red? What does that bubble mean? What does this mean, right? And I think their impression is, like, especially when you're, new to markets and stuff, that you think indicators give you this massive edge over everyone else. Like, oh my God, this is going to make me profitable. And I think it was an interesting conversation with you, because I think notoriously you've said millions of times, I don't use fucking indicators. And people go, well, what do you do? What's your system? And you go, I don't know. I've just stared at charts 18 hours a day for years. I just see shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about that, about how, like, I don't want you to give away your edge or anything like that, but how you came across certain things or triggers in the market just from looking at candles and being like, well, this is something that I know that I should be trading?
Honestly, I don't think I could give away my edge. I don't know what edge there is really. But like, I guess there probably is something. But yeah, I honestly, like you mentioned that tweet or something, that it's more of a subconscious thing for me. I find that when I try to like look for a specific setup or something like that, like I do worse. Like I'll do okay and stuff, but I do best when I just like don't even think and just stare at the chart and kind of zone out almost. And yeah, just your subconscious starts to pick up on things that you've seen before, and then you're just like, oh, I know what happens now, because it plays out like that 100 times in the past that you've seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically all it is, really. I honestly don't even know how to explain it. It's a pretty terrible answer, but yeah.
I can help you out here a little bit. Well, so people ask me about my edge too, right? And I always have like a very uncomfortable time answering that, because I'm like, I don't know if I have an edge, but just with time in markets, I've found a better way to answer that, which is edge is just experience and discretion over time, right? Just like you said, you're like, I get this subconscious feeling that I know I should take a trade here because I've seen it so many times. And I think that's what edge ultimately is. You have this innate understanding through reps and hours and experience and hundreds and thousands of trades again and again to know what you're looking for. And when you see it, you know that you're supposed to be executing on it, because you have this feeling of probability. Okay, I've seen this play out X amount of times, and I know that I'd likely be profitable if I entered here looking for this X, Y, and Z, right? That's what edge is. Edge isn't this magical tool that you're going to download this algorithm and that's an edge over the market that no one else has, right? Because even if you went that route and you developed some software, right, the edge will be eroded eventually. Like we talked about news trading a little bit ago, where in the beginning it was nice, and then everyone just automated it. It made a bunch of bots, and that edge is gone. Well, if that was your only edge in markets, what are you going to do now? Are you just fucked forever? Well, traders that are trading in a discretionary manner are going to find a new edge, right? If one erodes, they have so much reps in the market that they've built a skill set to identify X, Y, and Z, right? And I think, I don't know about you, but there was a moment for me that clicked somewhere in 2023 where I was like, this is something that I've never seen anyone that's taught me. Like I learned a lot from Pierre, I've learned a lot from Maine, from Magus, from Charlie, from all these guys. But none of them taught me one of these things with trading EMAs and trading price action. And I saw it repeatedly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start trading this setup. And that became a quote unquote edge for me just from seeing it again and again and again and having the courage and balls to do it. And what did that come from? Just from experience, time, taking trades again and again, tinkering with markets. So what's the lesson here? It's like doing shit and actually clicking buttons is going to get you a lot more out of, hey, I slapped this indicator on my chart and now I'm going to be profitable. That it doesn't work like that.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
The only indicator I use is onchain. I typically will use VPVR, volume profile visible range, and that's quite good for like especially new launches and stuff. That you can kind of see where volume is traded and does act as a magnet. But yeah, that's about all I use.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
you're 100% right about like just yeah, it's just experience and somebody will say like, oh, like how did you know not to trade this one thing? Like because there'll be times with news or something where it seems like, oh, this is a good one to trade, like this is bullish news, so you long it. It's like, well, no, like it was already looking pretty weak, so that I just broke all my rules basically.
Yeah, I gotcha. Um, I had a couple of other questions. We had some stuff on Twitter that I'm gonna go back to in a little bit. But one thing I wanted to ask you about, which I think you've done infinitely better than me, which I found the hardest in trading, is scaling with size, right? Like when you're building a portfolio, there starts, for me, I'm just going to speak for myself here, there comes a point where I start thinking about the actual money behind a trade. Okay, how much am I betting on this? If I lose X amount. And I start quantifying it into like, oh, this is a car, this is
Yeah.
that, right? And I think you've done a phenomenal job of running up your portfolio without that. I've seen you, scaling over the years of like taking bigger size bets and bigger size bets. And I've talked to a lot of people that have been in this market a while that struggle with that as well. After a certain point, they just go, yeah, I'm kind of sized out of my comfort zone. I'm sticking with these sizes. And I haven't seen that happen to you at all from the outside looking in. Is there anything you could tell me about that maybe would help me as a trader?
Um, I think, I mean, it has happened a little bit. I think once, and it's probably a case where I sized a bit too quickly. And because I'll typically, what I do like for at least my perp trading is, I have a very strict rule of I keep 5% of my like portfolio in any given exchange, and that started when I was trading on this complete bucket shop. Did not trust it at all, and uh, was worried they would steal my money. And eventually they tried to. I ended up being able to withdraw it, but yeah, that kind of stuck, and it's been a really really good thing for me. And I think having that backstop helps. Of if anything goes wrong, like the maximum that can happen is I lose 5%, which sucks, but like it's not the end of the world. And that's for like perp trading and stuff. But in general, I think like I just I don't know. It's points to me, honestly. And I've always been somebody that's pretty like uh more on the side of like taking too much risk. So I kind of have to rein myself back in instead of the other way around. So that probably helps a little bit. And yeah, it's basically just points to me is the main thing.
So you found a way to just separate the money from the game, right? Basically,
Yeah,
you're not thinking
to an
about it as,
extent.
yeah, okay, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like fully. Otherwise, I would just be like, I think I'd be a lot more degenerate than I am if I just thought it was points fully. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I always have like, no, this is like, especially nowadays, like no, this is real. Like, you don't want to like you could just retire forever, and you don't want to just jeopardize that
Yeah,
for a 2x or like doing a coin flip infinitely,
yeah.
like Caroline said.
I think
But yeah,
so my following question would be like, Is there a point in so you said, for example, you put 5% on an exchange. Is there a point where that size becomes big enough that you're like, I'm withdrawing this either back to stables or spot or the bank or something like that? Do you have like a reset button on the perp account? Because for me, I know personally, I do kind of the same thing as you. I don't do 5%, I do even less. But I pretty much go like every time that account 2x's or 3x's, I just drain the entire thing back to square one, take that money either into spot bags or the bank or just hold it on the side, right? And then reset. So for me and my perp trading, I've found kind of like a limit to my sizing where I go, I'm thinking too much about the active P&L, the unrealized P&L, how much I'm betting, how much I'm risking. And then I've kind of like sized myself out. I've hit my like limit. And pushing past that for me is now a challenge for me in 2025. That's actually a goal of this year, is like, can I push past that limit, that mental block and barrier? Is there anything like that for you in your trading where you're like, this is where I'll cut myself off? Or do you just go for it in that account every time?
Yeah, I withdraw like pretty regularly. There's no like, it's not like every day on Sunday I withdraw from the exchange. It's just because I don't always make money on the same days. So
Yeah,
if there's a
100%.
day where I do really, really well, I'll trim it a little bit. Um, and yeah, just if sometimes it's a couple times a week if I'm doing really well. Or sometimes it's I have to top it up, or yeah,
Yeah.
so just generally try to stick to that like around 5%. It's gotten a little bit lower now. It used to be like 20% back when I didn't have very much at all,
Yeah.
and then down to 10, and then yeah. So yeah, I'll just withdraw over time, like as it grows. And then uh yeah.
I'll uh I'll talk about myself here a little bit. So for my journey in scaling, I started with like, well, I'm not even gonna say it, but I started with not enough money, right? I just wasn't a responsible amount of money to be like, I'm gonna be a full-time trader, right? I'm abandoning my
Yeah.
job and my career and I'm pursuing this. It wasn't a big enough nest egg, right? And I regret doing that in the back in the time because for me mentally, I was like, I can't afford to lose, right? And I think that's something you shouldn't have as a trader because it kind of holds you back
Hmm.
from taking the risk that you're supposed to take at certain times. And it avoids you from like, oh, this is a high conviction bet, and sizing into those high conviction bets. You kind of like take a step back because you're like, if I'm wrong, I'm going to fucking lose this much and I don't want to do that. But that's neither here nor there. I've seen along my journey that the more capital I build, the less I'm willing to expose to perps because I just go, okay, in a scaling percentage, if I take a positional trade, like, the market that we're in right now with altcoins down 80%, if I can find one of those that may do well on the next risk on period, let's say we get one, and I can scale into that or size into that from a spot perspective, that'll do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. And I don't really need to keep, putting my foot on the gas on the perp side. So my journey has gone from very perp heavy, like extremely perp heavy in the beginning, to now very spot heavy. Has anything like that happened to you along the way?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I recently even I don't know if I tweeted it or like DMs or something, but I was talking about how like I just kind of realized I know it was a shit post, but I realized the wisdom of Kobe when he was like perps are for poor people. Uh, because like yeah, when I didn't have a ton, I would just lever up and or leverage is for poor people, sorry. And yeah, like it was obviously a joke post, but it you realize like that once you have like a stable like amount of size, like it's a lot just so much more chill to be able to just buy a spot bag and let that grow and not have to worry about any liquidation price, even if it's like super far away, and not see the P&L updating immediately. I think that's the biggest thing. And yeah, I've definitely transitioned a lot more to spot. Um, Before, like I was also very perp heavy, like just scalping constantly. I do lately very little scalping, to be honest, and very, very little of my gains come from that now.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think I'm realizing that I should probably mostly stop it at all or stop completely because the time spent on it doesn't really give back the same amount that I'm making from other things.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough to give up because like I'm somebody that's like go 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 and always wanting to be do something or always wanting to be doing something. And but yeah, so I've the same as you. I've transitioned a lot to just spot.
Yeah, I think there comes a point in your mind too where you just go, um, if my goal is to turn X into Y as far as capital, like if my goal is a 2X on my total capital, how do I get there, right? And I think early on, you may think that the easiest way is to perp trade, but at a certain point, you're like, do I want to be taking this much risk on perps and putting in this much effort and trading day in and day out for gain, like nominal gains, or is there a trade on the market that I can take? Like I know for you it's Hyperliquid, for me it was like PEPE. Is there a trade on the market where I can size into this and allow this trade to do the work for me in an easier fashion, right? And I think that that's like a natural progression probably for everyone. I'm not going to speak for everyone because I don't know everyone's strategy, but I think that seemed
Alex
to me,
Weiss.
yeah. Alex Weiss, yeah. I don't know if I mean, I'm no disrespect to him. I could never do what he did, run it up to whatever he did, 9 figures or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was insane.
Question in chat, Doc. Can you explain the title of the video? It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek title. It was kind of supposed to be a little bit of clickbait, but it's not really clickbait. Nexus is someone who famously, I think, I don't know what you were at capital-wise at your lowest, but I remember seeing a post
3,000.
where 3,000. I remember seeing a post of you on the timeline where someone was trying to flame you for a perp trade you took for like a $7 gain. And I looked at that and
Yeah,
I went, this guy actually came back from the dead and ran it up.
yeah,
So that's the title.
yeah. It was I think it was actually like a small loss or something. I was like, I posted it and they were laughing at like that I would even bother to post it. But like, yeah, it was. I mean, that was a big deal at the time, and so uh, yeah, I've always just posted exactly what I'm trading.
Yeah. Has that helped you as a trader at all? As being like transparent and being like, I'm longing here, I'm shorting here on the timeline? Has that helped
I
your
think
own
so.
growth? Yeah.
I think so. Although I think it's reached a natural ending point. Because yeah, the more followers you gain, and when you have a small little community, everybody's nice to each other and things like that, and it's more of like an actual community versus like just a bunch of people that follow you. Some of them hate you and like want you to fail, and yeah, so it's definitely become less helpful and probably actively harmful. Because like when you post something to a bunch of people and then people are like, "What are you doing? Like you idiot! Why would you do that? Do you have a brain?" Da, da, da.
Yeah.
And
People want to see you fail.
like yeah, and you kind of entrench yourself into that position when you see people like push back that hard. And then that can be very harmful in not cutting the trade early because like maybe they're right, maybe you shouldn't have taken that trade, but you don't want to admit that. Like that's no fun. Uh, and so like it could be like kind of building my fortitude to that because I sometimes in the past I would be more likely to be like, nah, fuck them. Like I'll just I'm right. But now I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll do it forever though.
Yeah, I've had my own version of that in 2022, 2023. I had a really small account on Twitter, the goal was never ever to have followers, like ever. It's just the goal was I'm gonna be as transparent as possible on my journey. If I'm taking a trade, I'm posting the setup, which is the idea of what I want to trade. I'm posting, hey, I'm executing, and I'm posting whether I'm right or wrong, right? And there's a lot of I'm wrong in my history, right? And I thought that helped me overcome like fears of taking trades. It helped me overcome like this actual executing on the idea, because there's this very trite kind of market saying that I'm sure you've heard, is that we plan trades that we don't take, we take trades that we don't plan, right? So kind of
Hmm.
putting those ideas out there. It was Twitter. It was also Discord. I used to have, or I still have the clinic, which is a smaller trader Discord. and, you know, just sharing all my ideas out there publicly. And I remember I did this for 2 years in 2023 when we had the markup from 30K to like 60K or whatever, you know, that everyone was a genius. It was everyone's a genius season. No one could do any wrong. Everyone's trades are correct. And I just felt like a dumbass. I was like, why am I even trading public anymore? Everyone's right about everything. What am I doing posting this for clout anymore? So I just kind of went away from it from there, and I just never really returned. And obviously the account's grown a lot, so it doesn't even make sense to share like intraday or trades or like that anymore. Like, just do your own thing. You know, the people that know that you're decent at the game know, and you know, what are you doing it for? If you're not taking these big seed deals and pre-allocations and shilling on the timeline, there's really no point in trying to farm followers on Twitter.
Hey, bro, speak for yourself. I've been taking lots of seeds. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, they're out there, dude. My DMs are constantly just like, you know, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, and you need to tweet X amount per week, and there's this OTC deal for this and that. So I didn't know that those were the inner workings of CT until it started coming my way, because I'm not in any sort of like insider, you know, group or anything like that. So I don't really know how it worked until I started seeing it my way, and then I was like, oh, that's why this person is tweeting about this coin that doesn't fucking matter anymore. You know, you start seeing that stuff, and you see the deals.
Especially like 2022, I remember a lot of that, or 2023. I mean, there's so much of that.
Yeah, I mean, there still is. Like, every time the markets go really risk on, all these deals start popping up of, you know, tweet my coin and I'll give you X amount of this and that and stuff. So
I never get those, honestly. It's weird.
Yeah,
I think I'm very brand unfriendly or something.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If you want them, they're there. Just know that. If you ever wanted us completely sell out, they're there for people that want them.
I just got one of those Bloomberg messages, or fake Bloomberg messages, and they're like, "Oh, would you like to interview?" And I've responded now like, "No way, me! Like, I'm so honored." And I'm waiting for them to respond again, and I'm gonna send them the emoji that I like to post quite often.
Oh yeah. That's the brand unfriendly thing that you're talking about, I think.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna screenshot it and post it.
What is happening to Barra right now? Are you watching this on the stream?
No, let's see.
I just randomly scrolled across it and I was like, this is a lot of volume coming in. We're just watching a 10% candle pop up.
Oh. Yeah, it has been needing a short squeeze, kind of. Because everyone and their mother's been short this.
Yeah. Soon. I think there's a trade here soon. This, especially with, what is this? This is fucking 8% OI increase. Someone just absolutely slammed the long side real quick. That'll be fun. Yeah, getting distracted. Let me read chat a little bit. Let's see if there's any questions in here for you.
I saw one that said, yeah, he sounds exhausted. Yeah, bro, okay. Yeah, I'm good. I set my alarm clock for the wrong time, and that's why I'm late. I woke up literally a minute before I joined, and I was like, oh my God, I'm late. I need to message him, and yeah, so I joined a minute after waking up. But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I was telling you you could grab a coffee or chill.
Like
yeah, all good, man. Why do people not call out KOLs that promote coins for monies while LARPing as a trading goat? I think we do. I think there's plenty of that. I think people just don't care, because the thing is, so this is the natural thing that happens. Even if someone who's a known scammer or known LARP or known whatever tweets something, the coin will still do this. Where's my drawing? It'll still do this for a day before going to zero. So people try to play the hot ball of money for a little bit, and they know that there's going to be some volatility even for this. So even though these guys are known scammers or LARPs or promote coins, they still are like, hey, there's a trade there, right? And that's the degeneracy of crypto. So that's why those people just never go away. Even though all their coins that they promote go to zero, they still are able to make a bag off of it, and some people still trade off those tweets. It is what it is.
I used to trade off those tweets, actually. I I don't anymore because of like it's hard to get size in and stuff. But it used to be pretty good news trades back when I was like trying to hyper grow my portfolio.
See, there you go. That's like anything that you can get from the market that's like a volatility event is an opportunity. And as long as people are out there, whether you're actually good like Nexus is executing these things or not, people are going to take these trades. And as long as they're there, people are going to continue taking the deals, and that's how those people are never going to get washed out of the industry.
I think there's also an aspect of like uh there's lots of like you realize as you meet more people in the space like how small it is of like active participants and there's a lot of people that are like, oh, like he's friends with this guy, and he's like, and it's like a mutual circle, and it's like, it hasn't really stopped me too much, but like a lot of people are, I imagine, quite hesitant to like call out somebody that's like a mutual of a mutual or something like that, and like they might be in a group chat with them or something, like a big group chat. And they don't want to like rock the boat or anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a small circle, so like flinging shit like gets back on you quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's another thing. Like if you care too much about um, inner cabal type of stuff, no one really wants, like you said, rock the boat is the perfect way to put it. Bro, come on, Ansem takes money from everyone and people still follow him in the replies. Ansem is a funny character, man. He's someone who throughout the years has shown repeated competence as far as like navigating the market. He's had a lot of like absolute banger calls. Like I've followed him in 2021, so I've seen him do really well in the last bull market. I've seen him do really poorly. I've seen a lot of his calls be terrible, but that's kind of everyone. And I know he's pivoted a lot to like the KOL stuff, but like that's his prerogative, right? People who want to follow him are going to follow him. Some people are going to get wrecked doing this stuff. Some people are going to be able to execute on some of the things that he says. It's just all part of the game, man. Like no one's forcing you to follow him. No one's forcing anyone to do anything. It's part of crypto. It's one of those it is what it is kind of things, you know. I still think I think Ansem's playing his or played his main character arc very well as far as like taking max value out of that. I don't know anyone who would be in that position that wouldn't try to take advantage of that. I think it takes kind of like a crazy person to be like, okay, well I've got people giving me $1 million deals in the DMs. I'm just gonna say no. I think it's very hard when you come to crypto, and the whole point of coming to crypto is I'm gonna make a lot of money really fast, and someone hands you $1 million, just be like, nah, fuck that, you know. So it is what it is, you know. Love him or hate him, I think Ansem is someone who worked very hard to be where he is, regardless of what you think about him.
Yeah, honestly, like I've gotten heat in the past for defending him, like, but yeah, I just don't like. I don't know. I think he's a better actor than a lot of people describe him to be. Um, he's definitely missteps in some ways. But
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
easy
I
to
didn't
do,
agree
I
with
think.
him with the Iggy Azalea stuff and all that arc. Like I was
Hey
very,
now,
yeah.
Iggy Azalea is a national treasure. I did well on that coin, but
Oh, did you the
yeah,
mother coin?
no, but yeah, the whole like social like coin thing, like I think he's like, I think he's wrong on that, but I do think he believes it, honestly. Like, and that's why I can't like fault him too much because I think he genuinely like has belief in these things. Like I remember like when he was talking with Kobe on Up Only, like, and he was like just passionately arguing for like gaming or like GameFi and like the metaverse and all these things, and Kobe was like, "This is all shit. It's all going to zero."
Yeah.
And Answer was like, "No, no, I did," and like you could tell he actually believed it.
No,
So like,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I can't really fault him for that. But yeah,
That's the thing in these markets though. You have to bet appropriate to your conviction. You have to be kind of a psychopath for something, right? I was a psychopath for PEPE, which is just a meme coin, but I saw something there. I saw the market mispricing it in 2023, and I was like, I have to take advantage of this. You saw that with Hyperliquid, and like that became part of your core thesis in markets is like the market is mispricing this thing. It's going to do well for me. Ansem did that with DeFi Kingdoms. He did that with Solana. He did that with a whole bunch of stuff. So there's been a lot of like correct in the incorrect, right? And it, as a trader, you know, I know it just takes like one of those high conviction things to pay off to really change everything.
yeah, yeah. It really like being a trader or and somewhat an investor or like investing is in very very big air quotes, is a kind of a recipe for ending up with with just really bad takes that don't age well, because sometimes uh like you said, the biggest wins come from like when everybody else thinks that it's terrible or something, and you're like, no, like the market is wrong, like I like this is actually like a good thing. uh and a lot of the times though that doesn't work out, and uh yeah, so in hindsight it doesn't look so good, but when it works out it does.
Yeah. Yeah. Jagger said we really bullied Hsaka off Twitter. He was the best. I really fucking love Hsaka. I think he taught me a lot in 2022 just by being active on the timeline, like just the way to think about markets. He had what was his thing is just like just long the top gainers before the top gainers, right? Always play strength. He's always bull posting the number one coin in the market. Like these are things that are really smart to do as a trader, and it's something that was really hard for me to do, which was chase strength and buy strength and long strength, and that was an edge for him. And I think he taught a lot of people a lot of really good things as far as trading. I didn't know this about him till later, but he put out a whole fuck ton of education on Twitter in like 2018, 2019 and stuff. He's
Yeah.
multiple threads on trading. So he's provided immense value to people in this industry. And yeah, him bull posting tops is a funny meme. Yeah, him coming back from vacation and it's a top. It's a funny meme. And we can make jokes about it. And I'm sad that he took it so personally, but I guess I can understand why. It's like you give a lot to people and this is what you get in return. 100% that's going to turn you off and be like, fuck that. I'm not sharing shit anymore. Fuck you guys, you ungrateful bastards. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I really wish he was back. I'd said the same thing of like, dude, it's not going to be Solana price discovery without Hsaka. You know, I really wish that he would come back for that, because you remember 2023 when Solana was breaking out from like $20-$30. That was a really fun time with him on the timeline.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I like Kazaki. He's a good one, I think.
Yeah,
I've
2023.
just posted in reply because I was just trying to find it, like the TA thread from 2018. I just replied to it to your while we wait for CryptoNexus to roll in
Oh yeah,
tweet.
there we go.
So
Yeah,
yeah, if
boom,
anybody wants to find that, that's there.
there it is. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't know this is
Yeah, he's
massive.
great.
Oh yeah, I even have it bookmarked. I can't remember the last time I looked at this, but when I first saw it, I was like, wait a minute, Hsaka. Like I didn't know this about him because he was before my time. I just knew him as the guy that was like, fuck longing ETH during the merge. He's like long Ethereum Classic, and Ethereum Classic shit on ETH for that pump. I think.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I wish I was around during, like I feel like that was um one of the closest I'll get or I've gotten to seeing what it was, and not even really that close to be honest, because there's a clear winner. But I wish I would could have seen what it was like during the like BSV Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin thing, like the block wars. That sounds so interesting, like looking back on it and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, me and you, we missed a lot of stuff from the early days in crypto when it was more about the actual tech and trying to build something positive. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that would have been more fun than where we are right now in markets, and everything is financial nihilism, which I think has hurt crypto
yeah,
a lot this cycle. Is like we don't believe in anything anymore, and we kind of just generally agree that everything's bullshit. So yeah, it's very hard for these sustainable rallies to happen.
it's kind of soul draining. Like it sounds cheesy to say almost, but I have felt this a lot. Like it's nice to make much money and all that, but it's just like sometimes you're just like, what am I doing? Like I don't add anything to society. And some people have like this hope answer of I think of just over making markets fair, and like there's some aspect of that, but like we're not nurses, we're not doctors or
Yep.
anything. Like
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that a lot in over the past like 2 years of like, is trading really what I want to do for the next 15 years, or should I try to make a bag and just go back to medicine to feel like a respected individual? Because a lot of my
oh, were
friend,
you in?
yeah, the doc name isn't just a fun name. I actually, yeah, I went to med school. I passed
Gotcha.
boards. I was gonna do residency, and I just fell in love with more. I had something to prove, man. For me, it was like I was doing internship in 2021, so I was like not really like active or anything like that. I was just kind of like half-assing, but I had this false belief that I was good, like we were talking about the left side of Dunning-Kruger. And
Hmm.
when that December 4th candle hit, it hit me like a truck of like, oh, I'm actually a retard. I actually don't know anything, you
Yeah.
know, like, and it was a tough pill to swallow. And I felt like I had to fix that. I really took it personally. And I was like, I can't just live with this. I have to fix this and I have to do. So for the next year in 2022, my brain was split. Like I was studying for boards, but at the same time I was like thinking about trading and I was still trying to trade and I was like losing sleep and I was doing both things half-assed. So I gave
That's
myself
crazy.
a period of like, okay, let me go past boards so they're fucking done, right? And then let me give this a shot. Let me actually go full time. So when I went full time, I gave myself this period of like, if I can't prove to myself that I can be profitable in markets before there's a quote unquote bull market, I'm not going to do this. But if I can prove that to myself, I'm actually going to do this. So that's where I am today, is just
That's
taking
sick,
taking
man.
that route. Yeah. But yeah, I do think about that a lot of like a lot of my colleagues and friends, I don't get respect from them IRL anymore. No one gives a fuck about any of this. Everyone makes fun of crypto. All I get is the bad headlines when I get text messages and stuff like that. Like the whole Trump thing. Now that I've moved back to Florida, so I'm around my friends all the time, and they're asking me about this stuff, and I'm just like cringing. I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this, dude. I don't want to talk about my work. I don't want to talk about what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. It's not so often that like I guess it happens sometimes. We could be strippers or something, like making good money but not having a profession that society respects.
Yeah.
Or have an OnlyFans. I might be starting one. It depends on how this market goes. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very. I don't know. I don't think I'll do. I definitely won't do this forever. Probably gonna try to build something. I think not in crypto. Just like AR, VR, I think.
Very cool. Do you have any, before we get into that, I just want to wrap up the trading thing. Do you have any goals for this coming year as far as markets go, 2025? Anything that you're interested in, chasing, trading, want to improve on as a trader, anything like that as far as markets go?
Um, want to improve on. Uh, there's definitely like a lot of things I need to improve on, but I can't like think of anything at the moment. But in general, I try to stay away from goals because I find them to be either like they entice you to take too much risk, or they can also like stifle you. Like if you pass a goal that you have set, and it's like, oh, well, I've like hit this goal, like yeah, sure, maybe you make a new one, but like I feel like the second one probably hits like less hard. You care less about it, or I don't know. And then especially the biggest thing to me is that like if I'm like close to a goal, like oh, this like one more trade until I hit this, and then there's like I think you mentioned earlier, maybe in different words, but like when you need the money, like you never want to be in that position because it just gives you a really bad mindset with
Yeah.
trading. And or where you don't want to be in a spot where you have to make it. It kind of artificially puts you in that spot when you're close to some goal that you have, at least for me. And yeah, so I've just never had any goals for trading. It's just as much as the market will give me, or as much or as little as the market will give me, and I'll be okay with that because that whatever I make is exactly what I deserve is what I've always thought. And
Mm,
like even when I was at like my lows, I was like, well, you deserve this, you idiot. Like even right after like losing it all, I was like, man, you had that coming, didn't you?
yeah. No, I think that's a very respectable mindset to have, is like, yeah, you deserve what you deserve pretty much in markets. Like whatever you get, whatever you put in, you get out, right? I'm kind of the opposite with the goal setting stuff. I think that's just from playing tennis and being in medicine, is just like that's how my brain works. So I'm always like, okay, what am I trying to accomplish here? And I feel like if I don't have something to chase or something to think about, then I feel like I'm just like floating, out there like
Yeah.
aimlessly. So I mean, but whatever works, right? Works. It doesn't really have to be a right or wrong answer as far as that goes.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people like, and that's like something that people getting into markets think is that like there's one right answer, but no, like there's all the time. You can have the best trader in the world and the second best trader. Not that I'm the best trader or whatever, but or either way, like but like you can have just complete experts in the field, or be like, no, this is the way, or like then the other guy's like, no, what? You're an idiot. Like, why would you do that? And
Yeah.
they can both be right. And uh, there's really no one approach to the market. If there was, it wouldn't be so interesting.
Yeah, 100%. That's I forgot who said it. Do you follow Hanzo? Or was it Hanzo or is it
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was Loma, but he had a really good tweet about like the reason there's so much fighting on the timeline all the time is because everyone's doing a different thing, and you're basically mixing professions. Even though we're all trading the market, we're all doing different shit. Like the on-chain guy, the perp guy, the spot guy, the holder guy. Like they're all arguing about different viewpoints when they all have different
Yeah.
strategies. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy trading like a nine-figure hedge fund is arguing with this guy that's trading like $5,000 in the trenches on random like pump funds and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's really hilarious. Like I love that there's just that intersection of worlds, because you don't have that with anything else almost.
Oh, absolutely.
'Cause there's basically like just one prime message board for this whole industry, and everything revolves around that, and it's I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're all just playing this MMO built around it.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think that, yeah, you said it best. There's really nothing like crypto out there. If you're not here and you don't see it, you don't get it, right? You don't get why it's addictive. You don't get why we're all on social media all the fucking time, even though we're wasting our time half the time. It's entertainment. It's part of the life, right? I can't imagine. I know I'd be completely fine. I'd probably even be a better trader at this point if I got off CT completely, but it's one of those things that you just can't do at this point once you're so ingrained into it.
Yeah, yeah, we're all just hopelessly addicted, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think you would like 'cause for me at least, I trade a lot of narratives, so maybe that's why I have that like need for crypto Twitter. But you think you'd be just completely fine?
I think I would miss out on a lot of opportunity in markets if I gave away
Yeah.
CT and Discord and Telegram. I just did my own thing entirely. There's so much money I would leave on the table. Yeah, just so much. But
Hmm.
would I be completely fine? Yes. Like as a trader, I'd be 100% completely fine if I did that. But certain things like, just being connected to people telling me, hey, grass is launching and it's completely mispriced by the market and you should probably get in day one. And I'm like, okay, let me do a little bit of research. Let me build some conviction. Okay, it launched. Let me grab these bags like right at launch. Those are trades that turned up to be a 5x, right? That I would have missed. Something like Ondo, right? Last year, that was kind of the similar thing, buying it at TGE when it launched. So these trades, yeah, I would 100% miss these trades if I wasn't active on CT, if I didn't build a network of people that have, shown repeated results in whatever they're good at. But
Yeah, I
sometimes,
noticed that as well with grass and Ondo. It was one of those things where like there was enough smart people saying that like, yeah, nah, these are good. Like, dude, get in.
yeah.
Uh, but I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention.
Yeah, and then there's some times where my brain just gets in the way and I mid curve things, even though they tell me like Hyperliquid was something that I completely mid curved because I'm like, this thing's just a fucking Dex. I'm not. I don't give a fuck. I'm fine trading
Yeah,
on
but
buying
there's
it.
been so many, it's hard to like see that. Okay, well, this is the one actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Or maybe it won't be. Who knows? It might end up being like all the other dexes, just with a higher high and a longer time at the high. Don't really know.
yeah,
I don't think so, but yeah, it there's so many times where um it's just the same thing over and over, and it's like you kind of get into just the habit of being like, well, no, it's not. Like, stop being an idiot, and then yeah, that
yeah,
just turns out to be
yeah. Another
completely different than what you expected.
Yeah, I think another one that I mid curved. Well, I fixed it eventually. I paid the stupid tax, but my friends told me about Fartcoin at $1 million market cap, and they were in with like size like something they believed in, at like
Yeah.
$1 million market cap, and I faded it until I think 100 million is where I got it, so 100x higher than when they told me about it. Eventually had to pay the fucking stupid tax, and I was like, all right, I'm buying a bag. I don't care. Just like fucking send it.
Yeah, I had the same thing with SPX. Have you heard of Baproll?
Oh, yep. He was in my DMs telling me at the lows, DCA,
Yeah,
SPX.
yeah, he was in DC now, and he was always like DCA SPX, like you guys are all idiots, da, da, da. And I was like, we'd have conversations about it, and I was like, yeah, it's just not my thing to like believe in shit. And then yeah, did really, really well. Very happy for him.
Yeah, yeah. That's something that's so fucking awesome. Is like how many people that There's one commonality though, right? I think the common ground here is you have to be a little bit mentally insane to believe in something so much with so much conviction. And yeah, maybe 99 out of 100 times or even more, people are going to be wrong on their conviction trades. But the ones that pan out is fucking beautiful, because this industry does change lives and generations. If you can capture those trades and execute on them.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we were a little bit worried about him for a while because yeah, he just kept believing even though it seemed on the surface to be a very dead bag, and then yeah, it worked out very well for him. So
Yeah, how's this thing
yeah,
doing? This thing was holding up pretty well for a while.
is it not now, or I haven't looked
I
at it.
don't have the issues. Hold on, maybe I can find it. It's this one. I mean, compared to the rest of the market, it still looks fine. Not saying it's going to
Yeah,
stay that way, but compared to the rest of the market,
nah, guys, it's going to the moon, fucking rocket emojis, and
yeah.
no,
It sucks that the Murad stuff really was like the climax of meme coins, other than the ones that got listed on Coinbase and stuff.
yeah, yep. It always is that way when it just seems like the time when it's like, oh no, this is actually gonna fucking change things. Like, nah, dude, don't believe anything.
Yep.
We're all dumping on you now.
Yeah. Tough. Hopefully he cashed out. Or, well, I mean, he's up a billion X. He's probably still cashed out here
I
and be
don't know
totally
if he
fucked.
has. I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't though.
True. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
double-sided
he'll be
sword,
fine,
right?
I think.
Like Bonk guy, right? You have to have just this retarded conviction to hold something like that. But that's also the conviction that makes you inevitably round trip. Knock wood. Hopefully they doesn't happen to them. But yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Anyways, brother, any closing thoughts? We could probably wrap this up. We've been going for a bit. Any questions from chat? You guys have been pretty patient, pretty quiet while we have a conversation.
Were there any from the original
Oh yeah, I
tweet
think
where
there
you'd ask for
was.
questions?
I think there was. Let me go find that. Where did I tweet this? Oh, here we go.
Wow, you post a lot of charts actually.
I try to clean up my feed once in a while. I've been
Oh no, it's good.
too
It's
much of
better
it.
than like yeah, it's actually a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I've been I feel like I took pride in being one of the guys that was high signal, low noise, but I think I've turned into one of the high noise accounts, at least tweeting a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with charts. Yeah, you have a couple questions here. You want me to go through these?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Are there any periods of the week, month, year that Nexus doesn't trade, like weekends, end of the month, June, etc.?
There are times when I don't intend to trade, or I tell myself I shouldn't. Um, but I've mentioned before that I'm like definitely on the more like or the less risk averse side, so I quite often will end up trading those periods anyways. But for the last like 3 months, I've been kind of on vacation, so I haven't traded as much lately. I've been doing like a road trip across the U.S. and then Hawaii, and yeah, but mostly trade anytime.
Very nice. Okay, we did the PFP one. What's the longer story behind the PFP? All right, we got that one. Uh,
Yeah.
would love to hear your guys' takes on ETH with the Solana narrative switch and ETH betas like Pepe, potential bottom for ETH Sol and ETH BTC. I have a
The
take
bottom
on.
is a black hole.
There is no bottom. I love you. I man, it's so hard to like. This is the funny thing about markets, guys, is you'll see something like ETH BTC and you'll say to yourself for 6 months to a year that if it ever comes to this level, you have to be bullish. And then if you guys are looking at the stream right now, ETH BTC has come to quote unquote that level, right? But do I want to just be all in ETH here and just bet on mechanical reversion because we fully retraced the 2021 pump, or do I want to see it round out now? And the answer for me is going to be I just need to see it round out. I need to see some trends flip. I need to see some market structure change. I need to see some accumulation. And then, yeah, I'll probably bet on ETH again. I think the problem with ETH has just been missing a narrative. Everything that we've thrown at it that could be a narrative, like ETFs and flows, just haven't stuck. The market hasn't a risk appetite for that. I want ETH to succeed because I think ETH being strong is good for altcoins. I think ETH being strong puts pressure on Bitcoin dominance. And I think Bitcoin dominance going down just gets everyone into this manic phase of, yeah, altcoins, let's buy more, let's hold on to more risk. So I hope that it does. I just don't want to stick my neck out and be like, yes, this is the bottom. Because I did that once before, and obviously it didn't end up well. And yeah, I'm not trying to be that guy that calls stuff. In fact, I have no desire in markets in general to be the guy that ever calls anything. I think there's no money in prediction. I think there's money in like reacting and executing. That's neither here nor there, though. Do you have any thoughts on ETH BTC, ETH Sol?
I think the ETH staking ETF. There's been some pretty smart people that I respect their opinions on these sorts of things that have the belief that once we get staking in the ETF, that kind of changes things and differentiates it enough from Bitcoin to actually be worth putting in your portfolio for these TradFi people. And this isn't like the people saying this weren't people that were like, oh, I'm so bullish for the ETF. They were like, no, it's not going to do well unless they're staking. And yeah, so I think that's a potential point where it could do well, is if we get that. And I think that's by they've like filed for a rule change with the SEC, and with the new SEC, like I think it's probably pretty likely, especially with like Hester Pierce playing such a big role in the SEC now, and she's very, very like crypto native and friendly, or native to some extent at least, and yeah, that's I think that decision is due by sometime in October. So I think by then we'll at least have some kind of answer, or maybe it'll probably front run somewhat, and but I think we'll really find out whether there's actual demand from TradFi once that happens, if it does.
Yeah, I think that's something that would definitely, like you said, separate it from Bitcoin. Just having native yield on an asset that you would hold in an IRA or something like that. Yeah, I'd love to see ETH have a narrative because I think this market's more fun when ETH is strong. Like the best.
Yeah.
I think the best rally that we had this cycle as far as altcoins went was 2023 Q4 into Q1, and well, lo and behold, ETH was not, dominant or anything, but it was going. ETH BTC was just going sideways during that time, and I think altcoins performed a lot better versus this last time when it was just going fucking down only.
Yeah, because I think even as much as everybody like shits on ETH, so many people still hold it, like, and very few hold Bitcoin in comparison, I think. Bitcoin is like more of the OGs would have a lot of it, and then anybody newer, I think, at least for me and like people I've talked to and stuff, they'll have ETH, not Bitcoin, because you can use ETH like and trade in and out of it, and can't really do that so much with Bitcoin,
Yeah.
unless you were doing ordinals or whatever that was. But don't really know anything about that. But so like when you mentioned that the market does well when ETH goes up, I think that's one of the things that we've been missing with the Bitcoin ETF is that there's not enough of us holding it. That there isn't that wealth effect quite so much as there would be with ETH, I think, or Solana. If those just got an ETF, then yeah, everybody like that's been around and stuck around is getting rich,
Yeah.
or at least doing very well. Uh, and then, as is tradition, they will gamble it back into the altcoin market, and that's what we need for the market to be healthy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hold some Bitcoin, but it's not something that I'd ever consider trading in for alts to be like, okay, I'm gonna use my Bitcoin to make more alts. It's just like that's a stack. That's not even. I don't even consider it part of my trading. Like, let it be there. It's a boomer ass gold type of investment. We'll see what it's like if this Bitcoin thesis to $1 million pans out one day.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how I look at it.
yeah. I have one Bitcoin. I bought it.
Whole coiner.
Like, yep, yep. Yeah, it was just for the meme, really. Like, I was like, oh, I'm in crypto, and I was like doing well enough. Like, I can't be with somebody that doesn't hold any Bitcoin. And so I was like, I'll buy one. And it's been like a pretty good week of trading. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna use my profits. I'm gonna buy one Bitcoin, and that was at like 60. I think I bought literally the top of 69K, and and then it broke out. So I think the market was waiting for me actually.
It's a good cost basis to have.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
literally just aped into the top as it was getting there.
hey man,
It's
the
like
whole
fuck it
perp,
for the culture.
one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin.
hmm Yeah, I'm gonna start stacking more now that Hyperliquid has added like the spot Bitcoin thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that'll be nice because I start like rotating. Yeah, actually, you had asked earlier about like what I do with my profits and stuff, and when my account gets too big, yeah, I'm just gonna start stacking Bitcoin. And yeah.
Very nice. All right. Let's see. I don't know if you want to answer this one, but what things to look for specifically when trading on chain? Tools that you use for on chain specifically.
Um, Let me see. Like, I have tools I have to have. Like, I always forget about them and what they're called. But uh, I don't have it on the sci-fi. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to like show like specific products and stuff, but use a terminal. I think is a good thing. So there's a Zoro. That's the one I am affiliated with. There's um or what's it called, Photon and Donkbot and all these other ones, and whichever one you think is good. And use a terminal. You're not really competitive unless you're using one. The market has kind of moved on from the just executing on the DEX itself. You're at a pretty big disadvantage if you're doing that. And You're looking at like trending things, and if you have a group chat that is like pretty tapped in with things, maybe looking at new pairs and stuff, that's good. Um, and like I've never been somebody who looks at new pairs, just mind numbing, but and I don't really know what to look for either. But yeah, it's just having a good group chat and uh, kind of keeping your head to the ground and listening out for what's happening because you have to get in pretty early. Yeah, especially now, like when the market's not super hot. If you're not in very, very early, then you're kind of exit liquidity. But yeah.
I've had two people in chat say that you sound like Elon Musk.
I think it's probably the tiredness, most likely.
He's got that. He's got that drawl. All right. And then yeah, a lot of questions on BSC. I must have missed this. Do you have a BSC thesis?
Yeah, I think CZ just wants it to happen. So I think that a lot of people kind of underestimate his power level. He's somebody that just controls a lot of things in the back end, I think, and has just strings that he can pull with Binance and like when you control the largest exchange in the market, that a pretty crazy amount of power. Like now that suddenly means that like BSC coins are a lot of the game is finding which coins are going to get listed. That's a lot of the on-chain game. And when you have the founder of the largest exchange that's just really, really bull posting, like trying to make this happen clearly, then most likely the coins that are going to be listed are Binance or BSC coins, I think. And that just makes it so like, okay, well, where should I be paying attention? Probably BSC, because they're the most likely to get listed.
Yeah, I think
And
that.
also there's like the 4 million something dollar per week meme coin fund.
Jesus.
That's pretty big. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for any type of, narrative or value creation event or anything that we could do. I would say, just from hearing this for the first time, I'm hearing this from you. I didn't really, not really kind of locked into what's going on lately, but I hope it doesn't end up like something like Runes, where we looked for a reason to be bullish on it in a shitty environment like last summer. And it really just never took off because people just weren't bridging, or there wasn't anything exciting going on. I could see potentially something like that happening to BSC, but I'd rather it be something that's worthwhile to do. Because why would I want something to be shit?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely possible. And I was thinking about this last night. Like maybe I should like just cut it. But I'm up, I think. I don't know. I haven't checked the charts, but yeah, it could be something where like, yeah, I was just thinking about like the market doesn't look that great, and should I really be like trying a new narrative right now? And maybe not. I don't know. I don't have a ton like um at risk. I have a good amount in like BNB and like cake and stuff. They're pretty big things that like I'm not super worried about. But yeah, I, if I'm wrong, then I lose some money, and it is deserved. So yeah,
I love that. I love that question that like you'll get from like reply guys sometimes. But what if this happens? And you're just like, well,
yeah,
then I'll lose some money. Like what?
yep, yeah. As usual, just yeah, you take your lick and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think that was it. We went through another one. Was want to hear the struggle days stories of Nexus and how does he feel? Oh, wait, well, I didn't get to this one. How do you feel when people say you've made money because of one airdrop?
Um, I don't know. It can be frustrating sometimes because like uh there was that whole journey like from uh it hit like a couple million before the airdrop had even happened. And so like going from like 3K to that is like uh it was a lot of work that I put in, and there was I think very, very little luck with that, just based off how many trades I was taking. Um, you, luck kind of erodes over a lot of trades. You can only get lucky so many times, and yeah, so I know that it wasn't like luck. And I was also like paying people to trade on my Hyperliquid ref link, like whatever I made from them plus 50%, because I knew I was basically farming points and buying points for a very low amount. So yeah, I was actually like increasing the amount that I would get, and it was a trade of its own. Yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes, but at the end of the day, like, oh well. My life is pretty good, so it's hard to let it bother me too much.
Yeah, I think the thing that people don't understand is like if it was such a free thing, why didn't everyone just do it? There's a
Yeah.
certain thing. You stuck your neck out for that thesis. You went behind it, like you said. You were paying people for the points, right? That's how much you believed in this thing. Obviously, it didn't have to work out that way. It could have worked out the other way, and you could have just wasted your time, right? Who knows? There's probably an
Hmm.
alternate universe where something like that happens. So, I mean, it is a trade in and of itself. Like, not everything in crypto is I'm longing this at X and taking profits at Y and, wrong at W. Like, that's not the game. The game is how do I extract maximum value from this market that's providing opportunity, and whether that's in NFTs or farming airdrops or betting on a high conviction trade or a meme coin or being early, or there's a million ways to make money in this market, and not everything has to be oh, you didn't make it through perps, you suck, right? I got a little bit of that myself in 2024 when I swapped from being perp heavy to being like spot rotational positional heavy. And it was a lot less work for me, and I made way more money, and I think I got less respect for that. But I'm like, I demolished fucking most of you guys in 2024, and I kept all my money. Like, what are we talking about here? But yeah, people are going to be bitter, and they have their own ideas on markets, and for some reason or another, they think that everything is a perp trade. And if you're not trading perps, you're not skillful. Like that, it's just not true. That's just
and I see it a lot from like perp guys that like they often think that like the on-chain stuff is all luck, and basically so many people just think that whatever they do is the only like true measure of skill and the only true arena, and then the other areas just all luck. And you see it with boomers talking about crypto, and then perp traders in crypto talking about on-chain, and then on-chain people talking about people who got lucky on the hyperliquid airdrop.
Yep.
So
yeah, I think
and yeah,
no, go on.
oh yeah, there's been many times where I've been wrong on things, and yeah, this time it worked out. And I think the main thing that I got lucky on is that not necessarily lucky, but just like it was very fortunate that I had an audience like people trading on the link and stuff, and that would help me get more points. And then also like most of my points came from my own trading, but that still was a massive boost. And then also that it did so much better than even I expected. That's probably the biggest thing that I got lucky on. And I still had to hold and all that, but yeah, it did just so much better than I'd even ever dreamt of. I didn't dare to dream that big, because I the whole time I was like, oh, like people are talking about $10 a point, or like $15-20 a point or something, and I was like, nah, I don't want to like hope for that, because it'll be so disappointing and like gut wrenching when it doesn't happen. And then like turns out it's even way higher than that, like $150 a point or something. And yeah,
that's wild, man. That's wild. I always think about I have a real cope mindset about Hyperliquid. I was like, why the fuck didn't I just trade on on Hyperliquid instead of Bybit? And the whole time I'm thinking about it, like, why would I do this? And people are like, dude, it's for people that, don't have KYC and have this, and it's really nice and it's really clear, and you don't have to sign transactions. And I'm like, I get it, but just for an airdrop, like, screw that. And yeah, so like there's people like you that took advantage of that, and there's people like me that are just completely fading it, right? So it's not luck. It's someone put effort into actually taking that trade and taking that risk and putting in, time and effort into this thing that wasn't guaranteed to play out the way that everyone now in revisionist history think, oh, it was so obvious. It wasn't obvious, I think, at least from my point of view.
No, even my point of view, like there was obviously the moon boys and stuff, but that terrified me. I was like, oh man, I really hope that I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have a great mindset on it. Like it's the way I always try to be and strive to be. Is just when I miss out on something, I'm just like, oh, you idiot! Like just try to get the next one. And instead of like getting mad at other people that got it, and mad at the market, and that doesn't solve anything. So yeah, like props to you, like for just having a very good mindset on it. And I'm sure next time it'll be you hitting something and me being like, oh man, well done.
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. To me, the thing about markets is like there's another opportunity every fucking day and every fucking week. And if I think about the spoiled milk, this morning I shorted the Pico top of Pepe on that like 8% move. It retraced the entire 8% move. I only caught 2% of that short. Like, am I going to sit here and thinking about that all day? Like, who cares? There's going to be another trade in a few hours. There's going to be another trade tomorrow. It's like, you don't sit there and thinking about something that you missed. You keep your eyes forward on the next thing. And all I'm going to be thinking about is, okay, is there anything I could have done better on this trade next time so I can extract more value? Was I too itchy on the trigger finger? Was I distracted in real life? Maybe I should have taken my dog for a walk earlier instead of putting it off. And now I'm thinking about that instead of the trade. Yeah. Like all these things are just lessons that I can learn from so that the next trade's better. And ultimately, I know like you just keep doing this again and again and again over weeks and months and years, and it's all going to amount to something, right? And it does. And things that people say you got lucky on turn out to be like, you're not lucky. You put in that work and you put yourself out there, and you learned from fucking up 500 times before. That's how you're there, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I saw you've been looking at new cars, so it's definitely worked out for you as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's been.
have you decided which one, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get the RSQ8. I think we kind of fell in
Yeah.
love with that one. Yeah, I was gonna get the Cayenne. I saw you bought your mom a Cayenne, so congrats, man. That's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I was gonna
Yeah.
get that for my
And
girlfriend.
she loved it.
Yeah, yeah, she loved it. So you guys didn't even go to the next dealership. You're like, this is the one.
No, she like I just saw her face like sitting in, and she's like, "I'd love this. Like this is nice." And the whole time she was saying like, "Oh, like this just doesn't even feel real. Like I shouldn't have this nice of a car and all that." And so I was
That's
like, "Oh,
awesome, man.
okay, I'm buying this."
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to like impulse buy another car, but then I was like, that's just, I'm not here shopping for me. So then part of me is like,
Dude, me too.
yeah. So yeah, part of me wants to buy the Alpina, but I don't really need it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I just think I think it's sexy, and I think it's like a car that no one is gonna have on the road. I know how rare they are. I've wanted that car for a while, so I like seeing it at the dealership was like, oh, maybe it's God's plan. Maybe this is like, I'm supposed to buy this because it's here and it's available, and no one's bought it yet. But the only other thing I could do is just buy it and then send it to my dad because I don't really need it. But he lives in California, so I'll just be like, hey man, if you guys could ship this to California for free, I'll buy it. So I'm thinking about that if it's still there.
Yeah. Apparently, like watch out, because like if you do like end up shipping it yourself or whatever, like finding someone to ship it for you, that's not the dealer. I mean, be careful. Like if you want, like a DM me and I'll send you some links of it. Like there's been a big scam going around where the drivers will or the original company that picks up the like job to pick it up and deliver it will contract out to another company, and then that company will say that it's supposed to be delivered to one spot, and then they'll basically take it to a chop shop, and your car is never seen again.
Interesting.
So be very, very careful with
All
that.
right. Yeah, noted.
But yeah, yeah, I've been looking at the car that you said that's pretty sick. But yeah, next door to the Porsche dealership is a Mercedes one, and there's a this amazing green Mercedes GTR.
Ooh.
And I'm very tempted by it.
Impulse buy.
But it just doesn't make sense. I don't even live in in the US like most of the year, so it doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, I'm trying not to buy, or trying to keep myself from buying it, but I might. I don't know.
Well, it took my friend. I know, guys, we're getting off of trading completely, but I took my friend to the dealership with me, and he was just like, "Will it make you happy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Just buy it then. Just buy it. Just buy it. Your life's short. Just buy it. Just buy it." And I was like, "You were the worst person to be here with me at the dealership right now."
Yeah, one of my friends was like, "Yeah, bro, treat yourself," and I was like, it seems like a bad idea though.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, all right, brother. All right, let's call it there. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I had a really fun time talking to you. Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, yeah, man, I'm definitely down. And sorry for showing up late.
Nah, don't worry about
My
it.
bad. Yeah, woke up in a stress. I was like, "Oh my God," I just felt it was late, and I was like, "Oh no."
All good, bro. Yeah, have a good rest of your day, rest of your week, and yeah, we'll chat soon. Keep in touch.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, boss. Take care. Take care.
And you as well.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Now I lost where the conversation. Oh, okay, it's over here. It's like, where am I? All right, chat. Yeah, I think that was a pretty dope stream. I think even I learned a good amount from Nexus. Like, one of the questions I had for him personally, for myself, was about the sizing and scaling. I've talked about this in my 2024 performance review about how, like, for 2 years running, that's a barrier for me that I'm trying to break and cross, and I'm being successful, but at a slower pace than I would like. And I've found ways around that by trading positionally and by trading more spot and not focusing so much on perps. But it's something I like to tackle. And I think, having Nexus on today, and because I think he's the best that I've seen as far as people that have run it up this cycle at scaling his position sizes as his portfolio grows. And the thing that he said is something that I like kind of preach a little bit too, is like, think of it as points, or think of it as a game, or think of it as not, completely just money, which has helped him cross that barrier. And that's something that I try to preach for people that are just starting trading, is they psyop themselves out of executions and triggers and trades and entries because they're thinking about the money. And I think, doing that as you scale is also very valuable advice. It's something that I can implement myself. So I'm very happy that I had him on, and I think we had a really good conversation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Any other questions you guys may have? I can hang around for a little bit, another 5-10 minutes maybe, and then I'll wrap up the stream as well. Let's turn this music down. Was there something? There's something that I wanted to talk about. I think that I completely forgot. Oh yeah, well, I can tease this. I'm, like we had Nexus on today. I'm always looking for more people to speak with on streams. I think they're super fun. Not a lot that I get to talk to other traders. I talk to Magus all the time. I think he's the person I talk to the most about trading. And there's always like insight that I can gather from other people that have experience in markets. And ultimately, whether you're starting from like day 1 or day 1,000 in your journey, there's something to learn from other people all the time, right? If you can like kind of swallow your ego in the beginning and kind of be like, oh, I know nothing, I have everything to learn. Or even if you feel like you know stuff, to swallow your ego and be like, there's still things that I can learn. There's still things that I don't do well. So talking to other traders for me is fucking awesome, right? There's always something I take out of it. And coming up on future streams, there's 2 other traders that you guys may have heard of. Well, I think you guys have, that I've talked to that said they were willing to come on the stream. One is PEPE, if you guys know PEPE. The other one is Joshua. I think you guys probably know Joshua. Both very, very good traders. And PEPE specifically, I think, is one of my favorite accounts on the timeline. He's very funny. Maybe you guys know him as putting out the relationship advice anytime that he thinks that the market's bottomed or whatever, to try to put a bottom into the markets. I think that's fucking hilarious. So I'd love to get him on the stream, speak with him, and Joshua as well, as who's also like, he's a leaderboard trader. If you guys don't know, he's on the Binance leaderboards and Bybit leaderboards as far as like perp trading goes. So definitely fucking killers. But yeah, what you guys could do for me is maybe I'll put out a tweet later today, and you guys can give me some replies on people that you guys like to hear me speak with on the stream. Because I think it's a good change of pace, especially where the market is right now. Because if I come on here every Monday and we just talk about charts and Bitcoin's just in the same fucking 96K range for another 15 days, we really don't have too much market-wise to talk about. And then altcoins all become the same thing. Look for accumulation ranges, look for market, like I'm just going to keep repeating myself, and I think it's going to be pretty boring. So it's probably a good opportunity to be speaking with other traders. I think it's to be a good time. So give me suggestions on who you guys would like to see on the stream, and I'll see if I can get them on. Wish you could get Nexus Blade Runner in. I could easily get Nexus on here. Nexus is the homie. The other Nexus. There are 2 Nexuses. Nexus is someone who I've known for a very long time, actually. Nexus Blade Runner. He actually comes on stream sometimes and then just talks in chat, which I really appreciate. One of the kindest guys that I've met in the industry. I love that guy. Very smart in markets too. I think he shit posts a lot on CT, and people don't understand that he's very intelligent, very, very intelligent and competent trader. Hey Doc, been in crypto for almost 3 years and still haven't made anything significant. To be honest, I usually trade perps and hold spot. My spot portfolio has absolutely gone to shit and has been affecting my perp trades a lot. Need some advice. Okay, so yeah, I understand where you're coming from. The spot trading affecting perp trades is very common and vice versa. I think if your spot is going up a lot, it'll also affect the way that you trade perps. And if your spot's going down a lot, it affects the way that you trade perps. You need to somehow come to a place where you can separate the two and have strategies for your spot so you don't get wrecked on spot. I think, the biggest wealth creation that you can have in crypto is via spot. And the biggest, blow up that you can have is holding that spot from bad entries down to zero, because that just evaporates your capital. A lot of people blow up in perps, but I think it's even more common for people to get wrecked just holding spot down to zero. So number one, you need a better risk management system for your spot. And soft shill, I talk about a lot of this stuff in Paragon. I have systems videos for spot trading and positional trading. But basically what I do is use a very simple, market structure combined with trend trading system to help me manage my risk when it comes to spot trading. And I'm not going to say that I'm selling Pico tops, because I never do, but I'd say over the last year and a half have come within 20% of selling tops on my spot bag, sometimes 25, but I think it's pretty unrealistic unless you're scaling out. So there's two strategies for spot trading, which is you're scaling out on the way up. And when you scale out on the way up, you leave money on the table. And when you kind of full stack exit or heavy exit on trend breaks, yes, you're giving some back too. So there's both ways you're leaving money on the table. It's going to be very hard for people to just full stack sell the Pico top on the candle that is the Pico top. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. So you always got to be comfortable giving some back. But if you're giving back more than I'd say 20%, 25% at most, I think you're doing it wrong. Because if you're running up a perp portfolio and it's up 2, 3, 4x because you're riding the wave of altcoins, like look at something like Pepe that I was very bullish on. It did it do a 4x, 3 to 4x, right? And capitalizing the majority of that and giving back 20 to 25% to me does not matter. Getting the bulk of those gains matters. So yeah, advice number one, better spot risk management. And advice number two, try your best to separate those two things entirely. It's easier said than done, but a perp trade is a perp trade. It should not, that portfolio and that skill set that you're employing to trade perps is completely different than your spot. It's the same thing of having two trades open at the same time in your perp book. You shouldn't be getting stopped out of one trade and then your successful trade you sell early because you're like, oh, I'm recovering the stop from the other trade. So you basically end up just trading your portfolio balance. It's a big trap for people. Another thing I suggest is just take one perp trade. You don't need to long like 9 coins because each kind of coin puts you in a different mindset. You start trading around different things. Oh, I got stopped on this one, so I'm going to sell this one so that my overall portfolio is break even. I made back this. You don't trade like that. Big mental trap. Yeah, good suggestions, guys. Nexus is a killer. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like him. Class act, I agree. Black Widow, I don't know who that is. I could do a little research. Cold Blood Shill, yeah, CBS and Magus are actually really good friends. I think they like play video games and stuff all the time together. CBS will probably be on Magus's stream before it'll be on my stream. I don't know CBS at all, but if you guys do see CBS, I think he'll be on Magus's stream at some point. I can always ask and see if he'll come on. I'd love to make new connections and new friends and get to know people. So we'll see if he'll be willing to come on. It's a great suggestion. CBS is someone who I did learn stuff from all the way back in 2022. So if people don't know, I tell this all the time. I joined the Haven as a student in 2022, right after FTX, just to learn from Pierre. The ultimate goal was to learn from Pierre how he traded EMAs and how he traded trends. And the market was so dead that I don't think he wasn't even actively trading at the time. I can't even remember if there was anything he was trading. Maybe it was GMX. I think that was the only thing moving, or maybe Litecoin. But he had like libraries of old analysis that I went through to kind of learn how he did his stuff. And then while I was in there, I was only in there for like a month, I'd say actively, and maybe a little bit over a month. And I learned a little bit from CBS too. I tried implementing some of his stuff as far as like awesome oscillator and RSI and stuff. I didn't like it. It didn't fit with how I traded and stuff. I thought it was too much, but yeah, I definitely picked up on a few things from him back then too. Doc, did you end up buying your new computer? Not yet. I have it. It's actually on, it's in a tab right next to this one. I just haven't ordered it yet because I had realized that on the PC part picker place, I have to order everything individually from different websites, and I've just kind of been lazy. I'll do that. I'll do that at some other point. Yeah, at this point, I'm way too much invested. I can see markets turning after a small rally, then becomes, well, Abhishek, I think there's my take on markets right now is probably accumulation ranges for longer. So yeah, if you're looking to get out of positions, you wait for days like today. Like if you had stuff invested into PEPE, you take advantage of this big 9% move on a holiday to reduce some risk. Stuff like that. ETH too, you know, I personally got caught in a little bit of ETH, so I did really well to basically cash out my entire portfolio before this. The only thing I held on to was ETH. And I had some of my portfolio in ETH, and I took the full brunt of this capitulation and just sold the bounce. I was in from 3,200, and it wasn't even a good entry. It was like 3,200 average on my spot, and sold around like 27.5 or something like that. So I took about a little bit over a 10% L on that spot. But you know, I'm not expecting this to just rip up to 2,500 anytime soon without something fundamentally changing in markets. Yeah, the tough love there, you know, markets don't care about what you want. Exactly true, right? Whatever you need the market to do, it's not going to do just because you want it. It's tough love, but it's the reality of the situation. So always saying these things of like, I'll sell on a pump. No pump feels good enough. Let me take you through something that's going to be brutal, but it's also going to be eye-opening. Right? Like look at this drawdown on Solana last cycle. I'm not going to say this can happen to markets, but it can happen to anything. Right? Look at FWOG, right? It didn't have any like proper relief. This just went down only. All of these reliefs didn't feel good enough for people to sell, and they just kept holding, waiting for the proper relief. So just something to recognize that, you know, this could happen at some point. In fact, it'll probably happen again at some point. So just recognize that like these little relief things that people looking for like bumps to get out of the market, they don't feel good enough at the time when they appear. You do these streams once a week? Yeah, I'd say I probably miss 1 week a month, so 3 weeks out of the month. Like last week I didn't stream. I honestly just, you know, I didn't really feel like it. I'm a little burnt out from markets myself, if I'm to be honest. Like we talked a little bit about if you're, you know, you've been grinding for a bunch of years and you've done pretty well, I think it's okay to take a foot off the gas. But if you have something to prove and you're not where you want to be, this is where you really need to be putting in hours. You can't be like other people and take time off. You need to get ahead of people. Narrowing down open positions in the perp port helped me become more profitable. Yeah, Wiz. So Wiz is in the clinic. I'm pretty sure if you've been in there long enough, I think you've heard me talking about this. I typically only ever have one position open at a time as far as perp trade goes, right? Generally speaking, you know, the market's going to move in one direction altogether. And generally speaking, there's a few coins that are going to do better than others. And then generally speaking, out of the few coins, you're going to have one setup that looks better than the others. So why do you need to trade 4 coins? You just trade the one, right? That's how I think about it. Very rarely am I going to be in more than one perp position at a time. And the only time that I do that really is when I think the market's going mega risk on, and I want exposure to a couple different narratives and stuff like that. That's when you'll catch me with different perp longs at the same time. Is this going to bottom here today? Let's see the volume. Not great. Then again, this one wasn't that great either. Yeah, this thing's been getting hammered, huh? They're really trying to push it down. a lot of this is unwound too, which is interesting. So whoever shorted could be taking profits on their short, possibly. What's happening here? Never mind, someone is shorting again. Someone is really trying to break down Solana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it there. That's almost a 3-hour stream. I don't know, 2.5? What are we at? 2.5. I'm getting a little fatigued. I appreciate you guys for joining me, hanging around. Hopefully you had a good time listening to me and Nexus speak. And I'll see you guys next week. We'll have more guests on. Take care, everyone.
Wasting time, filling space, walking around until my body aches. Just waiting for you to get home, so I can call you, so I can see you, so I can hold you. Wasting time, filling space, walking around until my body aches. Just